Merry Christmas.
What?
Okay, that was terrible.
This is 1 year.
I was waiting for William to say something.
1 year.
Yeah, you guys didn't even say anything.
Danny's 1 year.
All right, try again.
Danny's 1 year is Merry Christmas.
I was trying to think of something funny to say. All
Okay.
right.
March
Happy
Madness.
birthday.
No. Hell no.
1 year anniversary.
Welcome
guys.
to the Kang Danny William podcast.
We have a name for this.
It's called the KDW.
No, it's the Boardcast.
Well, KDW sounds like a 90s radio from
KDW 92 FM.
Very nice.
Tuning into KDW 95 now.
Do you guys listen to radio anymore?
WKD.
No one listens to talk radio.
WKD.
Every now and again, because I've got a really old truck, it'll the radio will turn back on because it doesn't have power to it, but somehow it'll get power.
Right.
And then I have to listen to it for about half an hour before it decides to turn back off again.
You know the whole
it's a nightmare.
video killed the radio star, but like radio is still just like crawling up, trying to live. It's but now podcasts well and truly have killed the radio segments for me.
What I find really funny is that you can say anything you want on a podcast and it's fine because your audience is coming to you.
Yeah.
But there's a guy just got cancelled on the radio like last week for making comments about women's AFL in Australia. Or women's, I think it was women's soccer actually. And he said something about how it was boring to watch and
Does women's AFL exist?
Yes. Yeah.
You don't watch it?
At the moment, women's AFL.
You watch it?
I've seen it. I've seen the highlights.
Oh.
Yeah. Not many people are watching it, but it is watched. It's the most watched women's sport in Australia.
Goddamn, props.
And it's the most financed one as well.
Yeah, that's good.
But a lot of, about 4 or 5 years ago when it launched, I knew a lot of females who joined in the women's AFL and they came from a lot of other sports because it was their best opportunity to play in a professional setting. So I knew quite a few girls who did like Muay Thai and hockey and stuff.
It's quite an athletics culture here.
the only
so it makes
sport-
sense that a lot of girls go into AFL.
Absolutely.
The only sport I watch now is pickleball.
You watch the pickleball.
Yeah.
I feel like pickleball is a doing game, not a watching game.
No, it's you can watch it. It's
Do
quite fun.
you get excited?
Yeah.
Do you have a team that you follow?
Players, like doubles.
Who's the most famous pickleball player?
Yeah,
in
who's the
Australia?
Right
Ronaldo
now,
of
like for
pickleball.
male, I think it's Ben Johns, like Tyson McGuffin.
He has names.
Yeah.
He made them up.
Just Google it.
No.
And then the number one women's player.
Dude, I thought that William was it was a bluff.
it's
was
a
just committing.
ALW. Which
Yeah, but
is
he called one of them MacGuffin. It's
Yeah.
a MacGuffin.
His name is McGuffin.
That's a MacGuffin.
Yeah, it's McGuffin. and, like the female one is NLE Waters.
One of the names is
number
Red
one.
Herring.
18 years old, number one player.
Is it because he's the only one who joined?
Nah.
So welcome back to the Boardcast.
No, this is the Picklecast.
The Picklecast. Yeah.
Pickle class.
Bringing to you 1 year anniversary of us talking.
Yeah.
You know?
Welcome. Thank you.
We're celebrating you having listened for
Thank
a year.
you
Yeah.
for listening.
Do you prefer us over the radio? Do people, does anyone actually go out of their way, turn the radio on because they want to listen to the segments?
If you prefer the
What
broadcast,
do you mean
over-
you turn on the radio on?
You know how the whole point of the radio is that they'll have
but
talk shows during segments?
Do you turn on the radio to listen to this podcast? No, right?
I'm
you
saying
gotta- you gotta-
comparing
I
us
think
to
that might
radio.
be his point.
Yeah,
I know,
I'm
I'm
saying
saying-
we're more popular than radio. I'm pretty sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, we still haven't had any sponsors.
No one's going out of their way
have a
to
sponsor.
listen to radio, but people will go out of their way to listen to us. We made it.
Has the sponsor changed yet? No.
It's still Imperial Numismatics.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you, John.
it's not changed.
At the moment, Imperial Numismatics has a permanent foothold on sponsorship until someone else puts
It's
a
platinum,
sponsorship in.
platinum,
Yeah,
platinum sponsor. Right there.
yeah. To me, that's great marketing. Like,
Hey,
he's
what about
secured
Burger
one
Boy?
position, good to go.
Burger Boy should sponsor us.
Wait, yeah. I'm in charge of that. So
Hey.
Burger Boy's now sponsoring the broadcast.
Everybody get free burgers! Yay!
So what I want to say is thank you very much for listening to it for a year. If you've been like a loyal listener, I know there's a few of you guys out there as well. They've been tuning in since the beginning, or if you're one of the newer listeners jumping in and on board now.
Kang.
Hope you're enjoying your experience. We've been doing this for a year now, and honestly, I
Give
feel
us
like
some stats. Give us some stats.
some stats.
Yeah.
Sorry, I haven't checked our stats for a while, but on average, you still get hovering around 100 listeners or so. As we get some
What about subscribers?
subscribers, we're going to reach the 100 subscriber mark on YouTube.
Damn.
So I think we have something about 40 to 50 or so followers on Spotify. And then between YouTube and Spotify, we average around 100-ish. We have some people who, have stopped listening. We have a lot of new listeners as well. And we bounce around that number at the moment. The idea is that we're going to keep trucking forward, right?
So you
'cause
can
we're-
see it gives you statistics on like who's picking that up and who's coming away.
The important thing is that we have new listeners, right?
Yeah.
So we have new
Great.
listeners to kind of keep kind of propelling us forward. So it's really cool to see this kind of slow but steady reach we're
Hey,
reaching.
Can we request something from Danny? Danny, can you get that salt gun?
We're going
the
to shoot
the
salt
salt?
all around.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Just inside the shop.
Yeah. So, well, isn't it salt repels bad spirits, right?
Does it?
I don't know.
So William's bringing this up because we're getting hounded by flies right now.
Right.
We're in a terrible season in Perth, Australia right now where for some reason we're just getting a bug outbreak.
Yeah, it's significant. Yeah.
It's autumn.
Do you know what's happening around my house as well? It's like a breakout of golden orb spiders. And there's a
Ooh.
lot. There's like a lot.
Are those
real big.
venomous?
No, they're not venomous, but they're like they can get up to like literally the size of your
Oh
hand.
man.
Yeah, but
they're actually real big.
they make nice webs, right?
They do. They make very nice webs. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually kind of don't mind the spiders as long as they're outside because they're keeping the flies down.
That is, they do protect the house.
Do you guys arachnophobic?
Yes.
Yeah?
I pest control my house every year.
I actually don't mind spiders.
Zero
I don't mind
spiders.
spiders.
Yeah.
Very anti-roach. Don't mind
Oh,
spiders.
no. Cockroach should die. Just die.
That's a universal thing.
Yeah, I
If
think
I have the death note, I would just write cockroach.
If I know the spider's there, I'm happy to pick it up and take it outside. No bother touching it. But if I'm surprised by the spider, I do get a little bit of a jump.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh, didn't see
The,
you there, buddy.
the spider's allowed like most places, but it can't be my bed. Can't be my bed. Can't be anywhere where like
Bed
I
spider is
reside.
unfortunate. I remember being in a bed with someone and I rolled over and I watched a spider crawl across them and I was like, I didn't know how to. They were not gravy spiders.
Yeah.
Didn't really know how to get the spider off of them without alerting them and then them freaking out. So I just let it be. I was like, goodbye, Mr. Spider.
Because I think roaches represent that like hygiene, right?
Yeah.
It's like a general hygiene thing. So if you see a roach, it's like, oh, it's not clean. But a spider just happens to be there. You
Yeah.
can't. They just are existing.
Yeah, they're doing the opposite. They're actually cleaning things up. They're eating.
Perfect.
Yeah, but roaches,
I have a proposal.
Yeah.
What if we all just raised a bunch of praying mantises and released praying mantises across your house?
Ooh, I like that
Because
a
those things
lot.
hunt insects.
wait, I used to have a praying mantis.
What?
So what happened was I
As a
found
pet?
I found a praying mantis on one of my side gate, the door, and it was just there. I just took it and I put it on another fence.
So you kidnapped it.
No, I just took it. It was still outside,
Did
but
it help out? Did it catch bugs?
yeah, no, in a way, yes. But I day to day will feed a fly.
Ah.
So I'll catch a fly, and then I'll put it.
You would
like
bribe it. You would pay
near
it.
it.
And this man has bullied the two of us for being too busy to do certain things.
Yeah.
And this man's feeding fucking praying mantises.
Yeah, it's like a pet, but it's outside. I don't have to put it in a cage. It's like in the nature.
So we just waited there every day for you
Now
to feed it a fly?
imagine if you had 100 of them and you strategically placed them around the house to form a barrier, a perimeter, keeping all the bugs away.
like an iron halo, like an iron dome.
Sounds like a Family Guy kind of thing.
It's like
Or-
it's like
no,
a
no, no.
natural pest
This
repellent.
feels like a Rick and Morty kind of like a idea.
Yeah.
So what did you call the praying mantis?
I don't know. I just think, okay, what happened was I had the praying mantis for like a couple of weeks, and then I was due for pest control.
Oh, you
No, what?
you gassed your own guy?
Yeah, I couldn't move it.
Damn,
I couldn't
heartless.
move it like anywhere else.
He trusted you. He believed in you.
Wait, so you just knew
was
he
your
was
friend.
there and he got gassed.
got
You didn't
nuked.
put him in like a little carton or something first?
Nah, I tried to. I told the guy like, hey, can you like miss this part? I was like, oh, it's a little bit tough.
He's an exterminator. His job is to just go for it.
Yeah.
I also like the guy comes round and he's spraying gas all over the guy's house. He's like, hey, my praying mantis pet is in that bush.
Unfortunately, praying mantis.
Did you
till-
find him?
Yeah,
Did you
No,
did
he
you give him a
believed in
burial?
you.
it's dead.
He believed in you. He was.
Nah, let it dry.
He considered you his
Let it
friend.
dry? Have you still got him?
No, it's already long gone.
Damn.
It's long gone.
Did you try to keep him and your wife was like, get out of my house?
No. I wanted the praying mantis to be like in the
Now,
open,
if I had 100 of them, they would form a coalition and fight back against
Yeah,
the
that's
exterminator.
true. Yeah, they'll
Yeah.
rally against. They'll go on like a protest.
Kang and his Rick and Morty story.
This is not a Rick and Morty thing, you know. Like natural, like pesticides exist. Was it in like some places farmers will release certain, animals or certain creatures because it keeps bugs down? Or et cetera, et cetera.
We also know a certain group of other people that like justified gassing a bunch of people, but that's
What
cool.
was it?
Really.
I can't remember. I watched the video.
Whoa! I
Wait,
didn't
that segment,
guess
hang
it.
on. Well, what was it? There's some video of in the rice fields they'll release these crabs because the crabs are a
yeah,
natural repellent to bugs that eat the rice, and then when they finish harvesting the rice, they just eat the crabs. they just get all the crabs.
I like that it's one step away from being like the toad situation here in Australia, except they're just like, well, we'll just eat the crabs. Like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, it's the crabs.
But the crabs are like,
now,
oh man, we worked so hard.
Yeah.
This is our
Now
repayment.
And this is their
well-fed.
reward. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
But yeah, do you guys have any? So now that we've been doing the podcast for a year, do you guys feel like we're more experienced in this? We're feeling more comfortable talking in front of a microphone?
Well, William just ate a fly on mic, so I don't know how much.
If you want to check out that part, it's in the appendix. Put in the end of the episode.
Are we better?
I don't know.
Or are
think
we
so.
the same?
I think we're more comfortable. We speak more naturally in front of a microphone, but we still say like. We still say a lot.
Who do you think says like the most?
Me.
Yeah.
Do you have like an AI to like count as many likes?
What
Spotify
I've noticed
does it.
is because we're doing this, I noticed people saying a lot more out in the wild. I wasn't paying attention to it before, but now because my brain's attuned to listening to it, or looking for it or trying not to say it, I guess, I'm now picking it up more when other people are talking, and it's annoying that I now have noticed it.
Every time we have guests on, they always say they don't like the sound of their own voice. Now that we've listened back on ourselves a bunch, how do we feel about our voices?
I don't listen to a recording.
All right, well, you're exempt. You don't listen at all.
I've admitted in the past that I laugh at my own jokes on the podcast. So I'll be listening to it and so I'll say something and then I'm just laughing. I'm like, that's funny.
Because I went from hating my own voice to now accepting it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah.
Self-love.
I think I knew already that I wish I had a more manly voice. I'm a bit more squeaky than I would
But
like
it's
to
not
be.
that bad. It's not that bad.
Eat, pray, love.
But I want to be like real like low, like, hey, I'm gonna
Like Optimus. I wish I sounded like Optimus
Optimus
Prime.
Prime.
Yeah. That's the voice. And I feel like after a year, like we've collected a whole sample size of like cool segments and cool guests. You guys got any favorite guests? You guys have a favorite guest?
All guests.
Obviously, we like all guests because we wouldn't invite you onto the podcast.
I really enjoy Matt's sessions, like his little story sessions, and he's so good at articulating all of his words, and like he's clearly got experience doing this. I always feel very comfortable when he's on because it's like having someone like
Who knows
an
what they're doing.
expert come in and tell us,
Yes.
show us how it should
You know,
work.
like what's it called? The Pawn Stars, right? It's like,
He's the expert.
let me get the expert.
yeah, yeah. Matt's like he's when I prepared earlier.
I don't know if these cards are valuable, but let me get my expert right
Yeah.
here. He'll be right here in 15 minutes. You just read right there, okay?
It's funny because I think as a general viewer, you watch a lot of those porn star things, and that seems fine. But if you take any of them things out individually and you talk it like it, because whenever they've had the magic cards, right, they talked about it there. They've got it completely wrong. They'll talk about like a certain card that goes for $300,000. I'm like, no, it doesn't. It's like maybe a 10 grand card. Just like it's never sold $3,000.
Yeah.
And the same thing when they talk about anything to do with soccer, they get it incredibly wrong. They're like talked about someone who was like this player who's like the next David Beckham, and who's like a no one, and the shirt was worth nothing.
Drama. They wanted drama.
Yeah, they're just making it up, I guess, on the shot.
It's
Like,
just TV show, right?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
just want more drama to it. Like just
so I think
add
if you
more.
have zero knowledge about the thing they're talking about, you're like,
like, oh
that's
my
interesting.
God.
Yeah. But if you have any basic knowledge of the thing that they're specifically talking about, you're like, that's not correct at all.
Each guest has added so much more like of their own experience onto the podcast, and I feel like each guest has been like such a cool, refreshing breath of fresh air to hear like different perspectives and their own narratives and reasons why they get into hobby as well. And then we also have the segments where we have John on, where it's like complete chaos, and those episodes are always a ton of fun as well.
Which guest do you like the least? It's got to be Tom, right?
we bullying Tom.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
This is the segment where we bully Tom.
Well, he bullied other Tom, and his name shares the same name as Tom that came on the podcast. So
Sure.
I feel like it fits perfectly. So, Tom, you've been rated by the three of us as the least good guest on the podcast.
I haven't.
You have a favorite guest, William?
No, I don't. I didn't like. Was
My
Guest
favorite
only here
guest
when
is
William's not
William.
here. Yeah, my favorite guest is Willie.
favorite guest? Oh, I think the only guest that I did with is
Zhao.
Zhao and
Yeah.
and Matt.
Yeah.
Oh, you did one without me. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I should have done two without me to make the numbers. But.
That was one of our
Two.
earlier
That's
guests.
two without you.
right?
Zhao. No. Zhao he is not there, right?
Oh, yeah, it was
Yeah.
Kang was here. Yeah.
And then Matt, you weren't there.
I think I've only missed one, right?
You've missed one episode,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
It's 2 episodes. The mysterious Danny didn't showed up episode. Danny was on like medical drugs.
Oh, when I got my mouth. That was it,
Yeah.
my mouth. Yeah.
Now thinking back as well, like after all this 1 year of recording and uploading episodes as well, it's going to get hard, obviously, because you can't remember everything that's happened on the podcast. But do you guys have a favorite segment, or do you guys have a favorite like a little story that's been told, or a little experience you guys had on the podcast? Thinking back.
Interesting. No,
I really liked the I know it was my thing, but I really liked the what's in my pockets. I thought they were quite fun. And it was like and I think getting to know each other and having those conversations naturally flow off like talking about ourselves is quite fun.
I like interactive podcasts.
Yeah.
like the D&D thing. or
yeah,
something.
like the D&D.
Yeah, the D&D thing was good. It's like if I had the mental capacity of like a regular human being right now, I've already got an idea for the next one.
That's why I wanted like a game of Commander while we're doing podcasts. Like interactive, something
If you're a newer listener and you want to go back to listen to something absolutely chaotic, we have one of episodes. I think it's frameworked as like the RPG, like D&D extraordinaire episode, whatever. I'll link it in the comments so you can find out. But there was one episode where Danny took over the episode and themed it entirely around like a Dungeons and Dragons pen and paper style experience where he was the story master and me and William were just on for the ride.
I'm still waiting for your takeover, William.
I already did.
When?
The Burger Manda.
No, your takeover was you brought your guest. You brought Zhao.
Oh, really? Did
Yeah.
I? No, I was thinking the Burger Manda. That was my takeover.
Yeah, but we didn't do that on the podcast. You just made a thing and then we did it outside the podcast.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Where's my game? I want to play a game, man.
What game?
That's supposed to be for you to decide.
Wait, what do you do, Kang? What do you do?
I did the thing where
Oh, the tier
tier
list.
lists.
Oh, yeah. That's not bad. Not bad.
I think my favorite segments, looking back as well, there's so many little moments. I think for me, my favorite, this is a cop out because I'm not going to name one thing, but my favorite part is when you get a guest on the podcast and you can always tell they're not super familiar with talking in front of a microphone. They're a little bit nervous. There's a little bit of like anxiety going in, and then you get them in, and then for the like 20 minutes in, you start seeing them easing up, and things get in the conversation start flowing out.
They
and
realize
people
it's just a couple mates chatting with each
yeah,
other.
exactly. And then people start saying things they don't normally would say. And it's crazy how the microphone does that to people. People just want to start talking about things. So like Tom was on the podcast, we kind of have a bit more of a structured thing going in. And then all of a sudden he starts talking about his dad. It's like, oh, where did this come from? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's cool to see.
I do have to like after every podcast, I sit down and I debrief with my head. I'm like, is there anything that I shouldn't have said?
Too late.
I think over the 12 months, I've only asked you to cut one thing out. I'm not going to say what it is, obviously, because I have to cut it out again. But it's like, I've only asked you to cut one thing out.
If I can't remember it, no, I'm done.
At the end of the day, I was like, I think I texted you the next day. I was like, hey, you know that story I told? Definitely take that.
I don't know what story that. Can't remember.
The
But
good thing as well, like contributing to us having more and more experience on the podcast as well. I've been having to edit way less. There's less things I have to move around or cut
interesting.
and trim, and it's actually not too bad anymore. So
is it still, I think initially it was taking you the same amount of time to edit as it was the length of about an hour and a half. Is it still about
still
an hour
about
and
the
a half?
same. Still about the same. Because at minimum, I'll have to listen back on the entire episode to make sure that it's all good to go. So
I know listening to other like larger podcasts that talk about the stuff they do, they will quite often listen to it in like multi-speed time. So like at 2 or 3 times
Yeah.
the speed. So then your editing goes from an hour and a half down to like half an hour, 40 minutes or something. I don't know if it's like, if that's
it
necessary.
makes sense. It
but-
makes sense. It chews through it faster. But I imagine like you get a lot of that podcast which are 3 hours long. Like the average Joe Rogan is 3 hours. But they don't edit as well. I think Jamie just goes live, hits it,
Goes
goes
straight on.
yeah, just go.
What are you mostly editing? Like what is the behind the scenes of it? What's
So
the
things
process?
like putting some post processing to make the voices sound a bit nicer, trimming down like the dead times when like we go and we're thinking about things. I'll cut that out. Just like awkward timing, like I'll cut out like some like stuff that don't make sense, like William eating a fly. That's gonna get cut.
Don't cut that.
No, it's
That's
gonna get put in
cool.
the appendix. If you want to hear William eat a fly,
I do like the idea of you
appendix.
cutting it, the idea of you cutting it, and then we mention it multiple times throughout the podcast. We're
Yeah.
like, what are they talking about?
Because now I'm okay with putting it on. Because now it's a segment. You can tune to the end. You can listen to
Ooh,
William.
it can be a recurring segment where William has to eat bugs.
What?
My favorite quote of William is still the part where he goes, "I don't read books."
Yes, that's the most shareable. Like to me, that's the most shareable quote.
I don't read.
Would you wear a shirt that says "I don't read books"?
Yeah, but
No.
it has to have a picture of William on it.
Just completely unrelated. Just William's face. I don't read books.
Yeah.
You leave it
so.
a mystery.
Can you imagine like if you just
I would wear that.
You're wearing it in just like the shops, and like William's kids walk past with his mum, and they just see you, his kids just see a picture of you wearing.
I'm very okay with this.
That's so weird. Yeah, you still owe the Patreon subscribers t-shirts.
I do do that.
It's 1 year now.
I think 1 year is too
time.
much. So I'm going to get it sorted. In fact, everybody who's subscribed to the Patreon will get a shirt.
I am gonna do it.
I'm going to do
or-
it. No, 100% going to do it.
Okay.
I've actually in the background, been easing out of some of the other work stuff, so I've been easing into some of the other things I need to. Business cards for Burger Boy and shirts was one of the things.
Damn.
And sorting out my card. This is like currently.
Is it like a buy 10 free 1 burger business card?
You return it and you get a free burger. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
real?
I'm gonna hand them out to the big building sites, the multiplex sites, because they've got like a lot of people there. So the idea is you hand it in, you get your free burger. I guess you shouldn't even get a business card, right? And the idea is it's in your wallet, so it reminds you of the thing to go back. But once you've been to a restaurant, you know it's there. So it's like the next time you think about getting fast.
Do you guys take business cards and put them in your wallet?
I used to.
Yeah.
Used to have lots.
I shove them in like cards, like in my car, and I
Yeah.
just forget about them.
Yes. Well, that's what I'm hoping is because it's a free ticket. You've just got to remember as long enough to get it back there.
Wait,
but
is it a free burger or like a half price burger?
nah, free burger.
Oh, free.
Yeah.
So basic burger then.
It'd be any burger, but you have to like then buy sides. So the idea is hopefully if they buy sides and a drink, that'll like roughly make up the cost, maybe.
Okay.
It's a loss leader to get people in the door. You know?
Okay. Fair.
So looking back as well from our 1 year, our beginning of our journey, I think we started this podcast a little bit more of a crazy variety, wacky stories thing where we talked about the movies coming out and all the like Dune, a lot of Dune.
Yeah,
I love the Fallout
started
TV
as a June
show.
cast. I like that. Yeah.
And then we started segmenting into, talking a bit more about
And we
like,
didn't talk much about
Warhammer.
second June, did we? Probably should have.
We did.
We did. We mentioned it.
We did.
Yeah.
Talked a lot.
Yeah, we did a lot because I asked a lot of questions.
Yeah, we had a whole lore
Yeah.
segment.
When are we getting Dune 3? Because it'll come, right?
Yeah, 2-3 years later, if we're still around. Episode 300.
There's no ifs. You're doing this for your life.
I'm just chained to the computer.
We talk a lot about rap.
Yeah, we do. We like to talk about music here as well in the variety segments. We talk about cars a lot, surprisingly. We obviously mentioned Warhammer a lot as well. That's the biggest.
We talk
Kinda
a lot of magic.
Tabletop hobby segment things. We talk a lot about magic. Magic's kind of all three of us play quite a bit of magic as well.
I feel like we do cop a lot of shit for not talking about more hobbies, but we fill each episode. We get to an hour and a half pretty quickly without really too much of a struggle. So it's like there's got to be space. We've got to have space.
And now I think
Or we launch a second podcast called the Boardcast four cardboard.
we just talk about
corners.
politics.
What?
Four corners, right?
Yeah, four corners, but it's like
We get controversial.
This one's four cardboard corners, and we talk about just
nice.
Magic the Gathering.
So the regular broadcast.
Yeah, but then we have space in the regular broadcast to talk about other things other than Magic. And then like with Joe Rogan, how he's got the UFC fighter ones, and he might get like 1 billion listens on one, and then he says a UFC one, there's like 12 listeners,
Yeah.
and then it goes back to a regular guy like an Egyptian thing. And it's like that'd be the same for us. It's like we can have the Magic one, and then just the regular broadcast.
Yeah.
And then we've got double the things for our Patreons to listen
The
to.
Patreon corner where I just talk about UFOs.
Ooh, yeah. It's just Kang outside with a
it's the
flashlight.
it's the crazy one.
Showing it into the sky. With our podcast mics, we could go like Bigfoot hunting in the bush or something.
Yeah. So
I
now
get bitten by snakes.
going into the
Wait,
future as well.
would you do that?
No.
I've got a confession to make, William.
What?
Bigfoot.
I went and played Space Marine in the city. Oh! And it was amazing.
All right. So on the podcast, William's been talking about.
Danny is banned. Ban Danny.
On the podcast, William's been talking about. There's this VR experience you can go to where you and a bunch of
what
mates
a selfish boy.
get to experience like Warhammer Space Marine, like from a first person like VR perspective. William's been trying to get us all involved, and Danny decided to jump the gun.
One of my mates organized it, and he's like, "Do you want to come?" And I was like, "Ooh."
Not gonna say no.
This year I've worked pretty much every Saturday night for the past about year and a half, right? And some personal things have happened over the past few months and kind of made me reassess my work-life balance and significant lack thereof. So I've had the last couple of Saturdays off. So I went to like a music concert and like a friend's birthday party, and then last Saturday I had nothing on. I was going to do some like paperwork just to catch up on because I was like quite far behind. And a friend of mine was like, "Hey, we're going to go do this VR experience thing in the city. It's going to be like 30-40 minutes if you want to come." And I was like, I can do that. I can do that. We're going to get dinner with the mates. We went to Bangkok Brothers and then over to Thingy.
So not 30 minutes.
Yeah, honestly, you order at Bangkok Brothers and you have your food in about 6 minutes.
Okay.
So it's quite quick. Have you been?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good, yeah. Anyway, I did know beforehand, like he's like, "Oh, we're going to do the Space Marine thing." And I was like, "Oh, William's going to be pissed."
It's okay. I'll
Was it
be not
good?
pissed. Wait, hold on.
All right.
Danny's gonna buy us the Space Marine.
Well, what has prompted me to do is we should book a Saturday night in the next few, like whenever, within the next month, and we'll pick a date, and then we'll put it out to the Patreons first. It was actually really good, and it's a little expensive.
How long was the experience? 30 minutes.
35 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was it being
Thanks,
a Space
Danny, for
Marine?
buying the Space Marine.
So William, you've done it.
No,
So
I've
Danny,
not done it.
Yeah.
from your perspective, how was it being a Space Marine?
Yeah, it was actually sick.
Yeah.
So
nice.
the way
Did you give yourself like a Space Marine name?
there was no name giving, but we said brother a lot.
You're like
brother Danny.
brother.
you're a brother Damocles.
It works out with the VR who's the smallest person in there, with like Lucas Kang, my son, and so he was the smallest, and I had two friends over 6 foot, so it makes the biggest people the smallest Space Marines, and the smallest person the biggest Space Marine. So Lucas was the biggest Space Marine by a lot. It was actually very funny.
Amazing.
But like, it's exactly how you feel, like you think would feel. Like you turn around in the VR and all the other guys are next to you and they look these huge hulking dudes, and there's points where you walk past the Imperial Guards and they're like little children. You could walk up and ruffle their head. It's
Nice.
like, yeah.
Nice. And what were you fighting?
Tyranids.
Nice.
Yeah. So there's only one scenario they've got at the moment for Space Marine. And you find like you end up finding like a Khan effects, like a
Sick.
big guy with a whippy thing. But you can have up to 8 players in a single session. So I think we should, between the 3 of us, we can wrangle in 5 more people from the Patreons, and we'll set a date and just go.
Disappointed.
It's pretty good.
Danny's buying. I don't care.
I'll buy your ticket.
So you'd
William,
recommend it?
as an
You'd
apology.
recommend if you could go do the VR. Where is it again?
Is in Northbridge. Yeah.
Northbridge. So you can go for the VR experience, go for the Space Marine thing, and embrace a little bit of Warhammer.
Yeah. So I've got a festival next weekend that I'm going to on Saturday night. This is my month. I've done more in this month than I've done in about 2 years.
You've had some proper leisure this time, right?
Yeah.
So
Good.
next week I'm in Japan.
Ooh.
I'll be back.
Take some photos, mate.
On the 18th.
A One Piece thing?
Yeah, for the One Piece Worlds. And then 22nd we have the Buggermanda.
Are you going to go to Warhammer World while you're there? Or Warhammer Place? The Warhammer?
Maybe. If I have time.
Kyle from the club just came back from Japan, and he showed me. He went to the Warhammer shop on the first day, and then he went on the Warhammer shop on the last day just to check it back out again and like get some more merch and stuff like that. So he was showing me some photos of like shirts and like the Titans and stuff in the camera in the.
I'm going
cases.
Disneyland.
Ooh, so you going with the kids?
No. Going Disneyland.
And ultimately, we do the Boardcast as like a big community thing. I think we segmented into doing podcast initially because we wanted to kind of have an extra way for the community to kind of interact with us, get a little bit more like Northern Boards action happening as well, and also as a hobby for ourselves. I think we started this ultimately as like the 3 of us already liked having conversations with each other. We had people in the community wanting to get involved as well, so we decided to throw it out there. Hey, if we started a podcast, let's see where it goes. Honestly, it's been a ton of fun, and it's been a huge growing experience for us. Yeah, and I think the big one as well is that we want to hear what the community have to say as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've recently picked up these wireless microphones from Rode, a whole setup by Rode. If you want to sponsor us, Rode, shoot us a message.
I'm sure we're higher on their agenda.
We've got these wireless microphones, and we can actually do kind of like remote segments. So the idea is that we can actually do some interviews with the community members. So I think the second half of this podcast, we're going to try and get some like point of view of people in the community, why they enjoy Northern Boards, why do they play hobby,
That'd be cool.
to listen to the Boardcast, how do they feel as well.
I think like the club itself and the whole point of the Boardcast is really just that community outreach and being able to speak to, I don't know, the people. I think for me it really felt like it was coming from so many people want to be involved in conversations and asking questions and was interested in what we're doing here and like what kind of things are going on, what's like behind the scenes. It's cool to be able to like have that conversation and be like, oh, you should listen to this then. It's like kind of like a stepping stone into what the background of like
Absolutely.
running a game club is like. And the game clubs are directly built on like communities. Like people coming through and buying stuff is always important for a place like this to survive, but they own the general base of this only survives from the community that comes to events and supports each other. Like the card games are always amazing because you've got people that are willing to give new players their chaff and cards to build decks, which allows them to come in and play games as well. 40K and stuff like that is filled with like really great community members who, when there's new players come in, they'll jump on Facebook and be like, yeah, absolutely happy to have you come down and I'll teach you how to play the game. And like, that takes so much pressure off the 3 of us to like do any of that inside the community when you have all this support. Because if Kang and I had to, like, for example, like teach every person how to play 40K that needed to play 40K, we'd have no time to do anything else. So I'm sure yours the same as with One Piece and the community group there and your teams. Like you have these community support groups that really put in so much work, and without those people, they they struggle. And you've seen that over the years with things like certain games like X-Wing. Once those communities start to slow down and wrap up, it is a quick decline. So it shows you the support that was necessary when they had it in the first place, you know?
And it's just cool because we often get asked as well, like, what's it like being behind the scenes of running a hobby shop as well, hobby community, hobby club? What is it like? And this broadcast was kind of like their window into what our day in, day out is like, you know, keeping things going. So
I definitely... we started with a lot of dadding complaining about being on the trucks. So I'm still on the trucks just as much, but I'm trying to do slightly less complaining.
do you guys have any like words you guys want to say for the special 1 year
Word of
anniversary?
encouragement.
Before I move on to the interview segments.
Word of encouragement. Ideas.
Should we have like
Topics.
an overall goal for the next year? Like
I think we should.
like a new resolution?
I think okay, each of us one goal. All right? Danny, you go first.
I'd like to try and at least a couple times get a guest on with the three of us. So I know you're not super keen on editing like a 4-person one, but I do want to try it out because I'd like to have us here as like a little family. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like I've loved having like John and Matt on and like a bunch of our guests. I'd love to have the four of us there. Just
Can we have
once.
like 2 of the mics and with the machine here?
Yeah,
Like,
we can sync it up with the wireless microphones.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And to me, I'm hoping I'm not going to steal it from you, but the Commander game, I'm very keen. Now we have the mics and we're kind of on the way.
One goal.
Yeah.
One goal. Not multiple.
Also, I want William's kids to do exceptionally good in school. I'm just going to take all of William's goals for the year.
Ooh. William's successes are your successes.
He took my goal. I want like an event with the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. Like an in-person event.
Well, what you gonna a 1 year spectrum like of time for a goal? Come on,
Yeah. Like an event.
an event. Okay,
Yeah.
an event that involves all the Patreon members. For
No,
William.
not event. Like as in recording while doing an event. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so like we're walking around and talking to people at the
Or
same time.
playing a game and like how we do with the D&D, but maybe playing a
Awesome.
commander game
Awesome.
or playing a board game or whatever.
So I guess my goal is we're already on our way to 100 subscribers on YouTube, which is awesome. So I guess the goal would be 200 subscribers on YouTube.
Nice.
And that probably would involve more video content for us as well. So
Nice.
naturally, it kind of ties in with all the stuff we're saying right now, but
That's
more
right.
regular video content coming out, hopefully.
That's right. If we can do the event.
Our unboxing videos for each set are already kind of the most popular videos we have.
We should
Really?
even record like our Burgerman events on Saturday. Like just fast, like time lapse it.
Time lapse it?
Yeah. Just record the whole thing and time lapse it. Yeah.
People can play it in the background. You know, like some people, like hotels and stuff, play the fireplace on the TV.
Yeah.
That we could do that in the game club. You can have in your game club. You can have another game club running.
Yeah.
See
How
how
about that?
excellent it runs. Yeah.
And that's one last final thing is thank you very much to the listeners as well.
Yeah. Absolutely.
For
Thank
sticking
you.
it out, for discovering us, for giving us a go as well, for checking out the
Appreciate
broadcast.
this.
Hopefully, your patronage at Northern Boards, just coming down, playing games, and kind of just like
Badgering.
engaging in the community,
Bye,
and
Pat.
every little bit enriches like Northern Boards as an experience. Very much so, Northern Boards kind of runs off the people that come here, the community that plays. So much of our growth and so much of our successes have come from individual people contributing and making sure that everyone's having a great time. So
Very
really
well said.
sincerely, thank you so much to everyone that comes down to the board, to Northern Boards,
To
that
the
listens to
podcast. You want to say
broadcast,
podcast?
that listens to the broadcast. Thank you very much. Sincerely, guys. And like, I guess now we can move on to our next segment where we kind of give a little spotlight to the people in our community now.
Yes.
Give them a chance to say something as well.
What I want it to feel like mostly is like a like a 90s graduation like thing. It's like,
Should I
where
put
it's
some
like
campy music in the background
like a
as well?
yearbook.
yeah, what's that one song they played at every
Hey
graduation?
there, Delilah.
No.
No.
What?
Is it vitamin C?
Yeah, like you can stay, but you can't stay here. You can go. You can't
What?
go. You can't go, but you can stay here. You can't stay here, but you can go.
Cotton Eye Joe.
What? I don't know what song.
Thank you very much.
Hold up. No.
You can't play this. We could get what's it called?
dude,
Copyright strike.
Doesn't matter. We're not running ads.
It's only for so long. All right. Hold up.
What's that?
Classic graduation song.
So I'll cut this waiting time.
This isn't waiting time. This is
What's it talking? What? What's it talking?
well,
like
none of these are none of these what I thought it was.
is it not the vitamin C?
What?
Have you not heard the vitamin C song?
No.
Oh, okay. What about that? Check vitamin C graduation.
I did.
Do you?
Oh, the Friends Forever song. Yeah, you're right. This is it.
see? You see?
Yeah, this was like every 90s graduation. It's not the one I was thinking of, but he is actually right.
I could be a DJ
So
now.
some people play it like at the end of when a shop closes, and they'll
DJ De William.
what's that song when you're trying to close and people are still in the shop and you play that?
Closing time.
Yeah, closing time. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
you remember that song?
Yes, closing time.
Yeah, that I remember those when that song was from a lot of
Okay.
graduations as well.
Okay.
Anyway, this is fun.
Thank you for listening, guys.
Thank you.
Should we like we can do, you can cut this and I'll cut this, but should we pause for a bit and then record a closing for the end of the podcast that you attach on the end? Could this be it? This could be it.
This could be it.
Kawasaki
Yeah.
Steve.
Thank you for listening,
Charles
guys.
Meows.
So did I read that right? Imagine buying Space Marines and painting them blue. Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
that's exactly what I said. Imagine buying the coolest action ever and then painting them blue.
All right. So here we have Eli. He's our resident kind of like commission painter and kind of our paint project pro here. How does it feel to paint most of Danny's armies at this rate?
Oh man, so painting Danny's army was a lot of fun, except for that it was the worst thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The background knows that we have Tom is next on the interview as well. So,
Yeah,
all right,
so-
so hold on. So just for context as well, Eli, you've been a painter for quite a while now, right? So,
I started painting when I was 6. I've been painting on and off for 22 years now, basically.
mainly Warhammer as well.
Yeah, mainly Warhammer Fantasy, and then in the last couple of years I've moved on to Warhammer 40k, which is now basically my main drive, but I've painted everything you could think of.
Nice. I think it's fair for us to say like you've been painting for like you're kind of our pro. You're kind of our resident pro. You actually have a lot of your minis here on display on all the boards. If you come to Northern Boards and you've seen our cabinet full of the good looking painted minis, it's either Eli's or Sean's. So
Well, I mean, there's, some of yours is there as well.
mine are hidden away. I have
Yeah,
one or two.
one or
So-
two there that's pretty dang good. But yeah, I've put thousands and thousands of hours into painting. It's literally what I do with most of my life.
Nice.
Yeah, I love
Was it for a while you were thinking of that was going to be like kind of a career trajectory for yourself?
Yeah, I
Or was
really.
it always a bit of a hobby?
I really tried to get into like an actual job of it, but I think there's just there's probably not enough people in Perth to sustain that kind of thing.
Gotcha. It's tricky.
Yeah, and a lot of people do like painting and have gotten more into it since COVID. So it's viable for some people, but I couldn't make it work.
Fair, very fair. All right, and you mentioned as well that you've done a lot of commission painting, especially for Danny as well here at the
Yeah.
board. So what have you painted for him?
I painted like 2,000 points of Danny's goblins.
Oh wow, 2,000 points of goblins.
Yeah.
So that's a horde army as well,
Oh
including.
mate, it was like 6 or 7 units of like 60 dudes.
Oh, sounds
It was
gross.
absolutely
Yeah?
awful. The characters are really fun, and I love painting really bright, vibrant colors. But by the 60th goblin in the unit, you're just
Over it.
over it. Absolutely over it.
If I remember correctly as well, you had to take in consideration that Danny's colorblind as well.
Yeah, that was actually a really big challenge because I had to sit down with Danny and be like, what colors can you see? What can't you see? What's preferable for you? And then really change my palette for that kind of thing. Like I had to change the style of painting as well because you go your normal like 4 or 5 step highlighting process and he just couldn't see the blends.
Gotcha.
So then it had to be like a very more like rigid, like this is the base color and then like 4 steps up, that's the next highlight.
Yeah.
For him to really appreciate
So
it.
you like very high contrast with the colors.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. So we had you on today as well. You were part of the judges panel for our recent paint competition. How hard was it? It was pretty tricky.
Oh mate, it was
had-
much harder than I thought it was
I
going to
think
be.
we had a total of 21 submissions come through, and
Yeah.
all of them were actually kind of real stellar. Like it's one of those things where I'll be going more detail as well at the Northern Board's official page. But just from this little quick interview as well, man, there's a stellar performance, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. I was amazed at how many really good submissions there were. It made judging really hard. Like we struggled for a long time to get like down to the
Just like
few
even
that
the
we really
top, like
wanted.
we got down towards like the top 10, and it was still like 10 minis left to judge.
and
It's
we
like,
were still like any of these could win.
any of these,
And
is
what
like-
do we do?
And it gets to the point where like we almost feel like you're nitpicking on the minis, and you almost feel a little bit bad, but like you have to because you were here to judge, right? So,
Yeah, it did feel a little bit bad. I felt
Mm-hmm.
I felt mean, kind of being like, that line wasn't perfect, or like this is a little bit
Yeah.
bleeding into this color, or something like that. And it's much harsher than I would normally judge people,
Yeah.
but like that's kind of the job.
So doing this this Warhammer thing as well, you mainly play 40k right now.
Yeah, I'm definitely into 40k at the moment. Play with a team, try and play all the comps we can and stuff.
Gotcha.
It's good, love it.
And you mainly play Blood Angels. Any reason why you picked Blood Angels?
My main Marine army was Raven Guard, and then I decided that I was sick of painting black. So I was just like, you know what? It's my favorite color to paint, red.
Nice,
Blood
nice,
Angels.
nice.
Done.
Wait, I can't afford it, man. Red is pretty good color to paint, man.
Yeah.
I paint vampires, I paint blood angels, and it's all red,
Yeah,
nice
exactly,
and easy,
right?
super simple stuff.
All of my armies that I've ever painted have some kind of red in them. So I was like, you know what? We're just going all red now.
Killer. Anyway, any last final words you want to add in here, Eli, as well? I know do you still do commission painting right now?
Yeah, I'm still doing commission painting, still open for commissions if anyone's interested.
And where can people find you?
They can find me on Instagram at The Dark Servitor.
Yep.
Or you can message me through the Northern Boards page or message me directly on Facebook.
Awesome stuff. Thank you very much for jumping on, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate
anytime.
it,
Thank
Eli.
you very much.
What's up, Sean?
Hi.
How's it feel to be the unofficial, like, 1/3 of Northern Boards now? So the unsung hero.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Definitely. Recently, it's been a lot more work. So coming in more regularly on a Saturday.
Absolutely. Because for a while now, it's been me and Danny kind of like manning the ship here at Northern Boards, but now we have you actually covering the Saturdays officially, kind of sticking on and kind of helping us out as well. You're actually just on board now, right? So you're the third employee of Northern Boards.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's definitely really fun. Everyone's fantastic.
How's the perks? Them sick Warhammer discounts.
Bro, it is damaging to the wallet because it is so good.
Yeah. How you found it here at Northern Boards then? Are you enjoying it? You enjoying your time?
Loving it. It's
Combo of working in your hobby as well?
absolutely. Like I think on Saturday I painted some terrain.
Yeah.
And it was just fun. Like it was just fun getting through some terrain, making everything look nice, and yeah, it was really nice.
So what normally is your day job, Sean?
So I work in the automotive industry, and I am a sales rep.
Nice, that's nice.
So-
you're just a master of retail already here at Northern Boards?
Hopefully,
Yeah. I've seen the way you talk to customers. You're pretty good at getting them to be like, you need this box of Space Marines. You got to go for it.
It's definitely not about selling the box, but selling the customer on the product.
Absolutely.
And making sure that they are getting what they want and finding out what they want versus actually just going, push this box and get this out to them. But definitely, a lot of customers come in already wanting something, so just making sure they get the right thing is definitely perfect.
Oh, very nice, very nice. And so you've been playing Warhammer for, how do you reckon, how long now?
Since 5th edition of 40k.
Wow, so we're talking a while back now,
Yeah,
right? 10 years or so?
Yeah, really young. Yeah. So.
And what got you into Warhammer initially?
Family friends.
Yeah?
Really, they were playing Lord of the Rings. And I was like, when I was really young, I was like, that's too nerdy for me. I'll go into the sci-fi stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really nice. I picked up my first box and painted up terribly, but then started getting a bit more paints and a bit more models and started painting a bit more. And all of a sudden, I was playing games 5th, 6th edition, 7th edition, and yeah, it was good.
Fair enough. Any current paint projects you're working on right now?
I'm working
Or
on...
do you mainly play or do you mainly paint now, you reckon? A little bit of 50-50?
It's a 50-50. I'm playing a lot of the specialized games a lot more, like Kill Team, Necromunda, Underworlds, Blood Bowl, and everything else. But I do play a lot of Age of Sigmar in my downtime.
Do you have a favorite system? If you had to say grand
Ooh.
after everything you've played, do you have a favorite system of yours?
Favorite system?
It's going to be a hard one, but you're going to nail it down to one.
Oh, current Age of Sigmar is the favorite system because it's just so interactive and fun.
Love it.
It's a lot more interactive. That you're not waiting, 45 minutes for your opponent's turn to do something. You're actually interacting every time they move, every time they shoot, they fight, they charge, everything else. So that's really fun. But I am painting currently a few different Stormcast models. I'm also working on a entry for the Iron Signet competition.
Very
coming
nice.
down.
And that's a yearly annual kind of like
Correct, yeah.
big paint competition for Perth here.
Yes, definitely. So working on a single mini for that. So fingers crossed that will be done in time and hopefully it might win something. Maybe. We'll see.
Very nice. So also, we've also had you on for the paint competition as well. It was
Yes.
yourself and Eli and myself who were judging the paint comp today as well. How do you feel about it, my man?
It was a lot more difficult.
It was
than
hard, right?
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was cool, really cool to see like everyone's like minis and different what people's paint styles, and also submitting into this kind of celebration of like the community being like, hey, this is what I can do.
Definitely, like the first real paint competition, I wasn't expecting as many miniatures as we did.
Definitely.
But
I thought we'd get maybe like 8, like maybe a dozen at
Yeah.
most, and then we ended up having 21, and it was like a great little time.
and the
All shapes and sizes too.
100%. The biggest one being the Stomper and the smallest one being a Rattling. And that was just mental to see just how good everyone was painting. And, seeing a lot of newer painters as well.
Absolutely.
Within their first month, within their first couple months, painting and entering is a really big step for them, especially if we give them some constructive criticism and feedback and allow them to come back next time. And we'll probably see them.
That's right.
Yeah, we'll probably see them.
Would you consider yourself like you're at a point now where you're really looking to diversify into more paint competition pieces?
Yeah,
So like you're really going for more of that competitive level of painting.
definitely. The end goal will probably be trying to get into Golden Demon one day.
Oh,
I think
nice.
I'm
The
still a few
big
years
boy
off.
leagues.
Yeah, the
Yes,
big
sir.
boy league. So probably maybe 5 years off entering that. But I think I've got some good pieces in mind for down the track.
Gotcha.
And
You have any good stories like you've had experiencing while working on all the boards here as well, or just around the hobby in general? Let's say.
around the hobby and in Northern Boards, definitely seeing someone jump into Warhammer for the first time from Northern Boards. There's been a few people who have jumped in not only Age of Sigma but 40k recently from edition changes.
A lot of new players.
And seeing their faces as they open up the first kits, they paint their first models and play their first games. Their face lights up, and for me, that's the best thing.
Love it, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you have any last words, Sean, you want to say? Where can people find you?
They can find me on a couple different platforms, but Instagram at splatter_painting or splatter_paints. That's where all my photos of my models go. Or you can find me in store saying hi and talk minis, talk painting.
Yeah, come on
everything.
down, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can probe Sean's mind. He's way better painter than me, right? So. All right, thank you very much, Sean. Appreciate it, man.
No worries. Happy to help.
Take it ahead.
All right, Nem, welcome to the broadcast.
Happy to be here.
For some reason, we found this really awkward to do, Nem. What's the deal? Why are you so antisocial? As a man who's so as flamboyant as he is, why do you find it hard now to talk when I'm normally trying to shut you up so much?
I think antisocial is the wrong word. Anti-Semitic, maybe. But, no, I don't know. I think, sometimes being put into a corner, Daddy doesn't like that. So,
I find it's weird because you're so confident normally in every other resolve that I've seen you in. It's funny to see you like this, and it makes me feel excited that you're uncomfortable.
almost like I have to shit.
Like it's a kink that I've got that I didn't know is watching you be awkward.
We could start at OnlyFans.
Yeah, it's just two men crying and hugging. People are like, I don't know why I signed up to this, but I can't look away.
Well, look, if they watch Nick Avocado eat his body weight in Takis, it's like,
I like his whole thing is like that he went from like cute young, like he's gay, right? Gay guy? I don't know. And like
Sure.
he went to a guy and then he just became massive, and now he's on his like Biggest Loser venture and he's going back down again. He's like,
didn't he troll everybody and pre-record all the content and lost all the weight and was just like, gotcha, bitch?
really? So
Yeah.
he was never fat?
No, he was fat, but he recorded everything in like a period of time and then lost the weight over like a year or so while he was pushing all that content that he recorded. And then like one day just pops up and he was skinny as fuck.
Dude, that's an amazing feat.
Bye.
People like he was the start of his Ozempic. His Ozempic's not real. His Ozempic's just dieting and good food.
Correct. I mean, a lot of things you can do with a green screen these days, trust me.
All right, Nam.
why I
So
use the
you're the
brush.
first guest for today as part of our thing, right?
I feel flattered.
So what we're doing is we're creating a little town. All right, and each one of the town is we're going to be NPCs inside this town, as if you're like in Dungeons and Dragons, and you're
Have you heard of the Rivenwood
But
Hills?
we're the
Is that
NPCs, right? So we're all going to be.
I'm already an NPC. What are you talking about? I'm like a quest giver in GTA.
Push one
wearing the same thing in the same place, chopping the same bit of lettuce. You come get your quest and you leave.
Push one for burger. Well, the idea is we've all been travelers, adventurers who took an arrow to the knee. So the character I've come up with you, Nem, is we're going to call you Knobbly Nemesis. That's your NPC name.
Am I a bard?
And you own a sweet treat cart that you travel around the town with.
So, are you implying that I'm a pedophile?
What happened was you lost your hair in a freak dungeon dragon incident. So your hair is going to be completely singed off. You look kind of like your whole head situation looks like a toffee apple.
I feel like you're so resentful of my full flock of hair that you had to create a hypothetical version when I'm bald.
In fact, this entire town that we're creating is just to bully you about hair.
I mean, that's fantastic.
So, yeah.
Look at me.
So
as long as I'm the star, it's all that matters.
what we need from the end of the interview is the name of your cart. So everyone has that we're gonna interview has like a character that I've written for them, but you have to name your, like everyone has a shop or a place or a pub. Yours is your sweet treat cart. So you have to come up with a name that's for your sweet treat cart by the end of the episode. So
I can try my
do you
very
think you
best,
do that?
Dan.
Now I think the first thing we can do, because it's the first time we've had you properly on, I think we've had you once or twice yell at us from outside of the podcast while we're recording.
Yeah, I like to be included where I can be.
I think we should take the broadcast listeners right back to where we started, about the first time that you and I met. In the front of the shop.
Shall I?
Have you got any comments on this situation?
Do you remember?
Yeah.
So I used to do Uber Eats while COVID was pretty prevalent at the time, and I used to run it till about 2-3 o'clock in the morning. One night, I'm moseying over to the bin with my machete holstered on my waist.
He was worried about all the 12-year-old kids who were doing drug deals in the car park.
Yeah. Like either they
There was actually a lot of kids doing drug deals back then. I don't see them as much now, or if we're on the opposite side of the restaurant.
Maybe I scared them away. You never know. As I'm taking the trash out, as you do, on 3 o'clock in the morning, I hear from around the way just obscene amounts of profanity. As I clutch my sheath, I navigate myself.
So I was about to get sexually assaulted.
Yeah,
That's great.
literally. I was like, I swear to God, my sphincter was tighter than anything. It was always vacuum sealed. You could sous vide that shit. And then all I come across is some poor, disheveled, overly tired, hairy man in high vis yelling at a bollard because he went out to urinate and like need the fuck out of it.
Yeah, I'm not exactly the most amble of human beings,
Yeah.
so clumsing my way through things is quite frequent.
Coordinated, I think, is the better word.
A lack of coordination.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I would say, yeah.
Well, what I would do is I would take little sneaky pisses out in the on the bushes across that road there, instead of like, because I was the only one in the shop, right? So I didn't want to go to the toilet and then come back into the shop and there'd just be some random in the shop. So at least if I did it out on the bush, I could see if anybody would walk in. And that time I guess wasn't paying attention and walked straight into a bollard. So
Doesn't also like urine has like quite a sizable amount of potassium. Yeah, you could have just been, doing your little due diligence on the gardening.
that is true. Yeah. I don't know if anybody's recommending that as your gardening.
No,
tip,
it's not
but-
absolutely. They'll just go yellow and
Yeah.
dry.
So from there, obviously, you thought, "Oh, this is a guy that I should do business with." I
Yeah,
assume.
correct. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Immediately. That's like I pick my business partners based on how they abuse inanimate objects.
I guess the amount of people you could choose from at 3 o'clock in the morning here at the markets in Wanneroo was not super high. So maybe you just took whatever.
Not at all, yeah. It was like the other 3 guys that were doing drug deals in front of the
Yeah.
ATM. I just don't fuck with mothers. Yeah.
So back at that point, Burger Boy was still called Barbecue,
Correct.
which was named after your mother, right?
Yeah, mother and Boba Fett, which
Boba
is
Fett.
one
And-
of my favorite. Well, how would you put it? Like almost anti-heroes kind of thing.
So you do have like a nerdy streak in there.
Yeah,
we don't
correct.
see it as much here.
No, I've got a reputation to uphold. I need you to fear me, not respect
So
me.
among the swine, you have to make sure you're the boar.
Yeah, absolutely. Correct, yeah. Tusks out all the times.
In the scheme of things, why would you say that we don't see you playing as many games inside the shop, man?
I mean, I'd like to let other people shed light on that one. 'Cause
Alright, so-
I've been told I'm a little sweaty.
So true degeneracy, right?
A little bit, maybe.
Like you had some of the boys around your house and you guys played some card games. And was it CJ who played?
No, Kang played Narset, and it was vehicle token tribal. Like, it's the most, just like, chonky fucking build, and it's turn forward, just kicked off.
So most importantly, still absolutely fucked.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So when we have the likes of like new players coming in and deciding whether they're going to play Magic long term or spend money at the businesses that we share together, we don't really need you in there just railing them to the ground. Right?
Yeah, no.
The
I'll
same
just-
way that I build my commander decks to not beat people
I don't know.
that I don't know.
You've been getting pretty sweaty. I've seen it.
Yeah, but that's why I'm playing more with Tom right now. I'm going to bully him into the ground. But then William's been trying to steal that thunder from me and bully Tom. And I'm like, this is my guy that I bully.
Look, I started bullying Tom first, let's be honest. I keep sending him memes of like big pigs' booties all the time. Just as a way. He's my little dump truck.
Well, I wore a singlet to Commander last Thursday, or the previous Thursday, and then, because I'd come from the gym with Lucas, and then he wore a singlet the next Thursday, and I bullied him relentlessly, even though I just literally done the same thing the week before. Because, it's like, we're like Bogan Australia, so wearing a singlet in most places is acceptable, but it shouldn't be, right? And then I thought, in the scheme of friends, thought he knew that I'm just, we're partaking in jokes. But then he sent me a picture of myself wearing a singlet, being like, look, you wear a singlet. So I think
was his retort?
I think while he sits in bed up in like some gold mine somewhere, the fact that he's still thinking about it shows that I've gotten to him. And part of me is proud of that, and part of me feels bad for the friend that I truly care about.
Never feel bad. It's important.
Commit to the bullying. That's what you reckon.
Because it's all about love.
Hmm.
Even I watched a reel the other day where people that bully each other through love actually have a better overall relationship towards each other.
So when you played Stormherd for the 7th time playing Commander with you, that was love. That was love.
I mean, it's like
Through the horse's hooves and wings, you showed love.
I guess it's love in the sense of like when you go in raw, unlubed, and don't really care about the other person's initial. What's the word I'm looking for here?
If you're going raw, you're like, I'm okay with the STDs you've got. I'm accepting whatever's here.
correct, absolutely correct. Yeah. Like if I pick up something, I pick up something. That's
I guess
what doctors are for.
describing like some of your Commander decks as STTs is pretty on point, I'd say.
Yeah, that's it. As I mean, maybe. It's also you got to be the villain somewhere, and I think I'm quite nice in real life.
In real life. So this is where you kick back and let it happen.
You have to let that 10% degeneracy out somewhere, right?
Yeah, I get it.
We'll shoot up a school.
All right. So one last question before we shoot out for this. When does the restaurant open, Dem? People ask me the question all the time, and I want them to leave me alone. But then I also genuinely appreciate their enthusiasm to think that I told them.
Yeah, me too, but not at the moment when it's stagnating. I don't want to fucking hear the 45th time. How many? I don't know, bro. I don't know.
We've had some pretty on a good roll at the moment, though, right?
Yeah,
like the painting's done, the curbing's done. I can go push the lights back in.
Yeah.
We're actually just really waiting
Push
for
that in,
compliance.
daddy.
And
Just push that in.
and for us, that's the most amount of progress that we've made in such a short period of time. So we really should theoretically have food coming out of that kitchen within a month.
I'd probably say less than a month if we can get the what's the word I'm looking for here? The cool room serviced. It should be fine.
Now, I know you have been working on the menu for at least a year because that's how far overdue we are for this restaurant. What's your number one pick for the thing you've loved the most creating for the menu? What are you most excited
like
to give to people?
individual item?
Yeah, like what do you think is going to be your thing that you're going to recommend to people as the top pick? Even if it's flavor of the month right this minute.
I don't think it's going to be necessarily top pick of recommendation for everybody, but what excited me the most was that smoked cabbage that we then grilled.
The cabbage was tits.
It was amazing.
The cabbage was
best vegetable dish I've ever eaten in my
crazy.
entire life.
Yeah.
Like cannellini puree throughout it and stuff. That was amazing. So I think meat's easy to do at least adequately. Do it great. A little bit more skill, but still, it's meat. Most of the flavor happens in the rearing process anyway.
I think even you saying that shows like a level of the quality, the standard quality you bring yourself. Because Lucas and I went to another place locally, very locally, because you were after you were closed the other
It was
night.
Williams. Noodle shop
Yeah,
next
that's
door
why
to
it was
mine.
bad, because we asked him to make cheeseburgers, and he's
Next
like,
door to my place.
well, we had burgers there, and my chicken one was quite good, actually. I had a grilled chicken thing. Lucas had a double beef, like basically like a double cheeseburger, and the beef was rough. Like, and this is a big place, like regular expensive burgers, and I expected better, and even Lucas was like, this sucks. He's like,
The beef has seen some things before they ground it.
I think what's most important to you is you've slowly ruined so many people's options for food outside of your own restaurant. And then we have very restricted hours that we're open, so it's like whenever you want to get food at any other time, you're like, wow, it's just disappointing way to spend money. And that, Nem, is why I think I am so proud to be in business with you, because like the level of quality and care that you put into every single thing you do, including your hair, makes me jealous enough to make you an apple-headed bald guy in our little fantasy town. So what do you reckon the sweet treat cart's going to be named, mate?
Diddle my skittle.
You've heard it here first, Boardcast. It's the Diddle My Skittle Boardcast. He's like, he instead of calling it Bring Out Your Dead, he says Bring Out Your Children.
Correct, yeah. And you might not get them back.
Well, I do.
Or at least at the same rate you got them.
I didn't think about it like this, but you could be like an ice cream band where you have like a tune playing at all time, and it's just...
It's just P. Diddy greatest hits.
Well, thank you, Nem. I appreciate you doing this.
No, absolutely my pleasure. It was
Incredible work. Cheers, pal.
No worries.
Does this light turn on?
You're supposed to not be talking. Welcome, Big Red, to the Boardcast. So what we've done today is people are gonna have to go through a little bit, but we've created a little town, right? So we're all D&D NPCs in this town. It's kind of think of like the adventurer who's got an arrow to the knee, right?
I'm into it.
So I've written your character. Your name is Big Red Dog. All right. You were a dog that got accidentally hit by a magical spell and turned into a man. But you have all the traits of being a dog still, mostly, but you have the consciousness of a man. So you found your job in the town as a guy who sniffs out rats in the silo, the wheat silos. It's actually pretty important because nobody wants to get cholera and all the other things that come along. I don't think cholera comes from wheat, but you know, what's that thing? You know the thing. You know, like black lung? I don't know. So what everyone has to do is come up with a name for their business that they've got. So Nem had a sweet cart which he called Diggity Doogity or some shit, I don't know. But you've got to think by the end of the 10 minutes here as we have our interview of what you're going to call your sniffing rats business. Or you can sniff other things, I guess, as well. Dogs can find cancer and shit in people. You might be really good at it. So I think what's most important, not most important, some, you know, whatever. What I want to talk about, Red, is you grew up in a country town, and I spent a lot of time in country towns, right? So what I want to know what was your experience in having, like, into hobbies and stuff like that, but maybe not necessarily surrounded by people that really saw past a dartboard. You know what I mean? So did you have any mates in school that did any kind of like hobby stuff or read 40K or did anything nerdy?
Nah, not at all. I was the random kid who read a book series that no one else knew about for no reason whatsoever, and all believed that it was just like, oh, that's the thing with the guys with big shoulder pads. Yeah, that one.
So you started with 40K even in school?
Yes.
Nice. How did you get books there? Did you buy them in, or the library had it or something?
I stumbled across a copy of The Last Church, being a massive atheist.
You're like, I don't believe in real God, but this God seems cool.
Yeah.
This one like flies through space and shit. So I find that funny because like when I would do like community stuff in the things, it was real like schmozzle of who was going to come, right? So at my board game group that I made when I lived in Mora, it was the science teacher, 2 kids from the high school, and then a random mum. But we'd have to do everything in like public areas because we were just inviting small children to come like hang out with us as adults, you know what I mean? So we do things at the public library or at the pub while other people drank, and we'd play like board games and shit there because like no one was willing to like, you know, invite the 2 or 3 13 to 12-year-old children around to like our dongas. Like, went nothing sus, but I also didn't want anyone to like come around and be like, that's sus.
Hey, come and hang out, kids.
Yeah. So I know from hanging out with you, like you mostly just partook in like the story and the novelty of like 40K, right? So you transitioned to playing 40K or at least collecting models when you started the boards or before?
Literally at boards. So at no point before then did I have any. I always was like, oh, maybe I'll one day buy these, but it was only being at boards and watching Kang play his Imperial Guard where I was like, I want to get better than Kang at this.
So I personally created a financial distress in your life that you cannot recover from.
Massively so, yes.
Did you go in hard, or were you pretty tempered about your spending? You come across to me as like quite a responsible man.
I am relatively responsible, and I've only slowly picked things up. The issue is I've slowly picked things up now to the accumulation of almost 9,000 points of Space Marine.
And how much would you regularly play in one army? Like one game?
Oh, once a month.
No, I mean like how many points are in a list?
Oh, 2,000. So I could run...
So 9,000 seems excessive.
Yeah. So I can run 2 to 3 of every unit in the game reinforced.
Is it more like, I know some guys do this, they'll like, because like a rule in the lore, the chapters don't really have that actually many Space Marines in it. So some guys will collect an entire army of what is realistically going to be inside.
Yeah, so I wanted, because I like the Minotaurs, because I love Greek culture, and I love the movie 300. So
you love the guys with horns, the horny ones?
Yeah, the horny ones. Yeah, and I was like, you know what would be cool is the fact that in lore, these guys run at full chapter strength. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make sure I have every single model that I ever need for a fight.
I get it.
Regardless of anything else.
Have you named every single one of them?
No, that is insane.
Can you do that in the next 10 minutes? How many? Do you know them quite well? How many like Minotaurs are actually in the chapter?
Luckily for me, there are only 3 named Minotaurs in all of 40K.
Oh, that's a lot of guys like background officer number 3. Like.
So every other one is just a dude, and then there's Hecaton Achios, which is a dreadnought.
The most Greek name you've ever heard in the entire world. Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Asterian Moloch, who's the chapter master.
I'm a fan of his name is Murloc.
Yeah.
Fan of World of Warcraft.
And
yeah, when he's charging into battle with his massive spear and
very much so. Yeah. That's why they gave him a spear in the first place. And then Ivan Ekinos, which is a chaplain. That's it.
Is Ivan a Greek name? It seems very.
It's they made it smaller, but his full name's Ivanti Ekinos.
Oh yeah, we're back on Greek.
It's got another name after that, but it's just his smaller name's Ivan Ekinos.
Now the Greeks are well known for a lot of things: 300 horses, chariots. But they're also known for guys being little bum buddies when they go into battle. Do you think the Minotaurs are like that, or they've foregone that part of the hereditary?
Oh, they're fucking.
They're getting it on. These big oiled up men are just like, yeah, well, you know.
I truly imagine like when they take off their gear, they literally just turn into the 300 Spartans movie where they're all walking around in like little leather loincloths, oiled up, like where is Gerard Butler's bum?
They kick messengers into pits just for the fun of it, like it's part of their leg day training. So you, for the most part, you got into painting for a long time. How has it been getting into painting when you haven't because so many people I know have come from they did it as a kid and then they reinvigorate the hobby coming back to it. How have you found coming in fresh?
So, luckily for me, my mother was an artist, and I did little bits of painting here and there.
Nice.
But nothing compared to doing an army. But I think the benefit of being at Boards when I started was I watched Kang for months paint minis when he was actively doing it.
Was that when he's doing his Imperial Guard?
Yeah. Every now and then he was trying to do touch-ups in a garden. Because of that, I saw the way he was doing it. And then eventually when I got into it, I actually came out swinging, and my models don't look terrible, which is amazing because you see
some are rough.
you see Danny's first attempts and you're oh my god, and you're I painted it with a fucking toothpick.
Through the toothpick, yeah. The ones I literally threw in the bin and somebody pulled them out of the bin, so they're still living on somewhere in the universe.
There's some models in the cabinet that have so much paint on them that they actually reinforced and will live forever.
It is as working in the broadcast and in Northern Boards and in a hobby sphere. I'm both mostly colorblind, so my opinion on painting really doesn't mean anything. But people will actively show me their models all the time, and I have to be really enthusiastic because that's what a supportive Big Daddy does. And sometimes you have to really put the support into it because you're oh, that's great.
If someone's got a model that's so bad that even your color blindness can see through it, I think there's already issues there.
Yeah, or I like when guys are showing me how well they've done and there's just clearly bits that are still grey, and I'm man, if I can see the grey, we're in hot shit. Oh dear. Well, I think it's actually really cool to see someone come into the hobby that wasn't in it previously, because I think a lot of people come back from that that legacy of only using GW paints and not wanting to branch out and try different stuff. Have you stuck traditionally just to the GW paints and the brands, or have you tried new things?
That's the thing. So Kang was oh, my first army was this, and everyone's oh, my first army is this. I immediately went into kit bashing an army, because I came from it from the book perspective, and when I was oh, I'm going to start Space Marines, I wasn't just going to start Space Marines, I was going to start Minotaurs. There was no other option around it, and not only that, starting that meant, no, I can't use a bunch of the stuff that the kits have, because it doesn't, right? None of it fits what I want.
So if we were playing golf, instead of starting at a different 5 meters back from where the men would start, you went back to the car park and turned the other way around.
Yeah, I'm going to go to a different golf course.
Yeah, this is a hole in 75, baby.
Yeah. I needed the shields are all cross guards for medieval knights, but that's nothing to do with Greece, so it all has to be round rotundas and everything else. Nothing can be the same.
So is the army complete, or we're still building now?
The army is complete, just not painted.
Nice. So does that mean you have started working on a second thing, or have you behaved?
I have a massive pile of grey, almost an insidious amount of it. On
so
a
even
shelf.
though a much shorter lifespan in the hobby, you've really embraced the hobby thing of just having a massive pile of shame.
Oh yeah.
I do wonder if there's any actual hobbies ever that don't have that pile of shame. Have you ever met anybody who isn't just robustly buying shit that they don't need? Because I don't know any, and I'm here a lot.
I know a guy who collects pool tables.
That seems the least convenient thing to ever collect. So you know what? In the scheme of things, that actually makes us feel pretty good. Well, thank you, Red.
His pile of shame is not playing with every table.
He's just playing multiple, the chess guy does multiple games. He's playing multiple games of pool, and his missus is just I fucking hate you. Well, thank you, Red. I appreciate you coming down and doing this. I appreciate you being in the community. You've been a massive supporter. And we're actually now house buddies. So we're living next to each other.
We are.
Yeah. Yeah. So if I ever have any girls around, Red's going to hear that because he lives directly underneath me. So, if anyone's out there and wants to be that girl, I'm here. Or Red.
Good God.
Either one. This just turned into I don't know, you remember those old 80s shows where they video record themselves? We're hey, my name's Steve, and I long walks on the beach and adventures.
I live above a guy called Red. We can yell out the window loud enough to make his shit real uncomfortable.
Well, thank you, Red. I appreciate it. See you, bye.
All right, bye.
All right, welcome, Sarisa, to the Boardcast. How are we doing today?
Good, how are you?
You've both recently started with the Boards and Burger Boy. So
Yes.
you're double teaming on both of them.
Yes.
Which is which would you say right now has the most difficult customers?
Oh, probably Burger Boy.
Probably Burger Boy?
Yeah.
Is it people asking for shit on the menu that isn't there and we have no reason why we would do it at all?
No, They just ask stupid questions, eh? They actually just ask stupid questions.
Nem and I follow a couple of accounts on like Reels and stuff like that, of people that work in hospitality, and they do a pretty good job of mocking people asking things that they very clearly just like shouldn't have no business reading. Like,
know what
how often
they
do you ask for
ask?
coffee?
Oh, coffee? Probably like 10 times a day.
The guy who made the coffee was there like 9 years ago. I don't know what the reason is, and there's also a sign in the middle of the food court where it says you can get coffee. We still get asked all the time.
I know, and it actually pisses me off because when I tell them there's a place, they say no, I don't want to go there. But then it's like, why you come to us then? Like,
Yeah.
we clearly make burgers.
Yeah, it's like, I realize you don't want that coffee, but that's better than zero coffee, right? I guess
Exactly.
theoretically. What's the most out of hand like piece of food you've been asked for that we just clearly couldn't do? Like for me, it was always like steak burgers, and they'll be like, do you do steak burgers? And we say no, and then they'd be like, why? And you're like, I don't need to tell you why. We just don't do it.
A lot of people do ask for burgers without the bread,
Without the bread?
without the bun, yeah.
That's insane. So what? They just want like a.
They just want the meat and a fork. They just want the meat and a fork. And
Do
it honestly pisses them off. It actually pisses
To be
them
fair,
off.
any level of alteration does piss me off, though, so it's not that surprising. All right, so what we're playing a little game, right? Where we've created like a little like imaginary town, and everybody as part of like the community is gonna be part of like little NPCs in the town. It's gonna reference a game that you've never played, have no reason why you'd know anything about it, and you have probably the least idea of what's going on here. But basically, you're gonna be like a person in the town, but like where all people that aren't the focus of what is going on, like the main character comes in, and we just are there being fucking people in the town.
Okay.
Right? So your name is Sarisa, right?
Yes.
So I've changed your name to Sarisa.
Why the fuck?
Because I found it funny. You're a retired rogue. Did you even know what a rogue is?
No.
No, a rogue is like
Oh,
a.
is that the brokies?
What?
Oh, nothing.
No, rogue is like a thief in the night. So a lot of like hoods and leathers, and like
Okay,
you'd go
so
steal
brokies.
jewels and shit.
Because they're broke.
No. You're usually quite wealthy actually, because you
okay.
thefted from everyone else.
Well,
so.
that's first.
But you fell in love with a dark-skinned prince, Sarisa. He mysteriously died a few months later, and you've managed to keep all of his wealth. So you've gone and opened a tap house, which is like a bar, and that's what your job is in this town. Is you're the surprisingly wealthy ex-rogue who has like a bar essentially, right?
Okay,
So
yeah.
what you need to do is by the end of the 10 minutes is come up for a name of what you want to call your bar in this imaginary town that you're in.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think we're going to do this interview, and then you've got to come up with it. At the end, I'll be like, what's your name?
I haven't.
And so you're going to try and come up, you're going to have ideas while I'm asking questions
Oh,
of stuff.
shit,
So
okay.
yeah, it's annoying and complicated, which is what we like to do here. Now, most importantly, Sarisa, you've worked, before working Northern Boards, you've worked in another card shop, right? You work in
Yes.
Just Cards next door to us.
Yes.
They do like more Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And sports cards.
Yes.
So you've been around weird nerd dudes a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Are you like emotionally prepared as a 22-year-old female to be around that many guys who are so
not
socially
22.
awkward? How old are you?
I'm 19.
Shit, you're 19, Sarisa?
You should know this.
Oh, I can put your wage down. That's crazy. I should know this. I do have all of your personal
You
details.
literally- yeah, okay, that's a bit creepy. Don't say that.
That is, we were trying to work out Kang's birthday the other day, and Tom turned to me, he's like, "Wouldn't you have Kang's birthday because you like
Exactly,
you pay him?" And I was like, "Oh, I do have that. I can go find that out straight
You
away."
forget, eh?
So,
It's okay to be old.
what I want to know is like working around nerd dudes and cards.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Is the smell the worst thing, or is the amount of butt cracks that you see is the worst thing?
You want to know what the worst thing is?
Sure.
When they ask you stupid questions.
So I do like that the same problem is the problem that we have with the burgers as well. Right? What when you say like stupid questions with the nerd stuff? What's the problem? What are we hearing?
There will be prices right in front of you, and they're like, "Oh, what price is this?" Yeah, like it literally has a price on there, and then I have to tell you, I have to show them. I was like, "Oh, it's $69," and they're like, "Oh, okay, can we put it down?" I'm like, "No, no, we can't."
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, are you sure?" Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah,
what the fuck?
This isn't the 1500. We're not bartering over the price of the thing.
Exactly. But to be honest, the smell. Oh god.
The smell is like, especially at the boards, like it's a lot of, even if it's not maybe socially unacceptable human beings in there sometimes, it's like you've still got like 20 to 30 males
Yeah.
in a room in a small space
But even the kids
for long
smell.
periods of time. Yeah.
But if I'm a bit honest, I see more butt cracks at Burger Boy than I do at the
Really?
card place.
Well, we are at the Wanneroo markets, and like we're already in like a maybe a lower socioeconomic
And they're
area.
mostly like
and we love
old
them.
men with like hairy ass. I mean, I don't mean to look.
Do you
They're
just
just there.
you
I'm
just get
sure.
lost in the mystery of the hairy ass? You're just like, oh yeah, this is where I wanted to be on a Sunday morning.
Exactly.
So the thing, do you think if we open up in a more upscale area, like we opened up a burger bar in Northbridge, we'd see less hairy ass? Maybe
We'll see
Northbridge
more
isn't
homeless people that are
Yeah.
shouting at us.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Give me my motherfucking burger.
You're like, sir, please pay. It's only $69. I don't know why you're asking.
Yeah, they only have like 5 cents of them.
So did you, when you, now that I know you're also 19, when you left high school merely 3 months ago or something, whatever that is,
It was actually 1 year ago.
did you expect to be working in
No, I didn't.
either one of these locations?
No.
Because what are you doing at uni? Or TAFE? TAFE, right?
TAFE, yeah. I'm doing beauty therapy.
Is that working out? What tips would you give me to be more beautiful? There's a lot of wrinkles going on, I know. I look
Yeah.
about 10 years older than I actually am.
Yeah.
Can I come to you for like moisturizing tips?
Yeah, you could actually. Yeah, because you have to. It really depends on your skin type and everything. Then we have to choose like the right products because they carry certain ingredients that are good for that specific skin types.
So is it like you mean like literally races? Like different races have different react, or is it different like there's like different types of skin, like grades of skin?
There is different type of skins. It doesn't really matter on the race. Except Asians, they do age a lot. Is it faster or slower?
Generally, slower is the trick, I think.
Slower.
Yeah.
They age a lot slower.
Being Asian yourself, I feel like that's something you should be aware of more so than me, right?
I honestly feel white.
Is it because you're surrounded by whiteys
Yes.
all the time? Yeah,
Yes, it is. But when you're in beauty, you see a lot of different skin types, obviously the different skin colors, but that's not really the point. It's like how people tan and if they get sunburnt a lot or how they look after their skin or what they do on a daily basis. And also what you do on a daily basis affects your skin because if you're in the sun a lot, obviously you're gonna grow a lot. You're gonna have more wrinkles and everything.
Well, you know, I'm a truck driver, so I actually the right side of my face is in the sun a lot more, and you can actually, if you sit there and look at it, you can see that I've got far more wrinkles and like crow's eye feet and all that kind of stuff on the right side of my face than I do the
you're
left.
just old in general, so it looks the same.
That is true. I'm definitely aging at like a fire rate. I think the lack of sleep definitely helps that along there. Like
that is
I
pretty bad,
buzz
eh?
trimmed my hair right, and it started to grow back, and the amount of greys that are coming
it's
through.
grown back?
Yes,
It looks the same.
the amount of greys that are hiding in there.
no.
That's all right. We can fly away. We can get it later.
Okay.
It's definitely more than I was originally hoping for to be. So now I know that now that you're on the payroll, I guess I can just come to you for I can learn all your entire TAFE course at the cost of just paying you $25 an hour, right?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, you could.
great,
And you'll get it
actually.
for free.
Yeah, because I used to, at some point was helped by another female in my life about how to do that, and I didn't really retain a lot of it. I kind of did what I was told, and that was a mistake because now that I'm not there, I don't. I'm just standing in front of the mirror with like a giant tub of Dermavine, like 10 liters of Dermavine, and just caking myself in it. So
Well, you know what? If you ever come to me, you don't have to pay, but just
Thanks,
give me
Sarisa.
like $100 tip.
I feel like that is paying. I think that's
No, it's not
I think
paying,
that's
it's giving a
the
tip.
complete opposite of what we just talked about.
It's giving a tip.
So, are you've just started the boards doing Tuesday nights, right?
Yes.
So that's the Locana night, which is
Yes.
like the Disney one. Are you feeling like you're okay with that at the moment? Like, is
I
it Tuesdays coming along?
Yeah. Well, I've only done it once.
Someone shift? I should probably know more about what's
My
going
next
on.
shift is tomorrow.
Is tomorrow?
You
Excellent.
should know that.
All right,
but-
we can check in like a month from now, and you can be like, everything's lit on fire. Like.
Well, actually, if I'm being honest, I didn't really get experience because my first shift there was barely anyone. There was like 3 guys and they just did their own thing.
Did their
Like,
own thing? Yeah.
Yeah, they all.
So the perfect first shift for anybody starting like a new
Yeah,
job effectively.
you know what? I had a message from my lecturer and she said I was going to fail my TAFE.
Oh, really?
If I didn't do my assessments. And that night I actually got it all done.
Oh, that's perfect. That's because Kang also spends his entire time while I pay him to study. So,
Yeah, so you guys are paying us to study.
it's like I genuinely mean this. Your main studies is the priority of what you're doing, and I'm actually happy that I can provide a situation where your job can still get done by effectively us not getting robbed because you just have to be there and still study. And I'm like, I'll never have a problem with like Kang or yourself or anyone else because Ellen used to do the same thing as well.
Yeah.
As I like get the stuff done for uni, and I'm okay with that because
Who's Ellen?
She worked with Jackson prior to.
So I'm not the only girl that's been.
No, there has been.
You know
Yeah,
what? I'm offended.
yeah. Why?
Because you guys always call me a man.
Yeah, well.
So it doesn't even.
Yeah, but
feel like
you rib us like a man.
Oh.
Like sometimes I get worried about the way Nem speaks to you, and then you talk back, and I'm like, she's fine.
If That's what you get from hanging out with a lot of guys.
No, I guess that's true.
Growing up with a lot of guys, you're getting used to it.
Yeah, I think you've been exposed to more weird dudes over such a short period of time than most females, I'd say.
No, yeah, that's
yeah.
true. Yeah. I was gonna deny it for a second. And I was like,
a lot of guys come to the clubs like ours, like Northern Boards or game stores, thinking that they're gonna find their girlfriend that also plays games. And I really try and stress to people that they need to shower, dress well, and go to the pub because they're not finding their wife there.
No,
but I
not.
promise you,
they'll find a boyfriend, not a wife.
There's a few women that do it, but mostly they come in after their partners are. They've hooked them in, and then they say to their missus or their wife now that I do this nerd shit, and then they come along out of pity, I guess. But you're not finding too many other females that are just single and in the place ready to mingle.
You don't. You know what you need to do? You need to go to a primary school and go in the nerd corner. That's where you find them.
So you're suggesting that the adult males go to the primary school? That is not.
That's where they are.
That is not broadcast endorsed information. Well, thank you, Sarisa. I really appreciate you coming on and doing this. Good luck with shift number 2 tomorrow. I'll be on call if you need me. So, if you need me.
Are you though?
We'll see. Yeah. My phone is available. I'm not sure what it is.
But not to you.
I'm not sure what it is right now. But and once again, Kang's phone is locked. Before we go, I need the name of your pub.
Big Booty Wrist's Pub.
Big Booty Wrist's Pub?
Yep.
Love it. I love it so much. Thank you, Sarisa. Thank you.
That's all good.
See you. All right, Riley. Welcome back to the broadcast. I know you've done one of these already, so we're going on double time. How we feeling?
Feeling good. Coming around for round 2. Always a classic.
Your character, Riley, you're a wizard, but
great.
you've taken a nasty knock to the head. All right, and you can only learn one spell now. All right, and your ability is to turn beer into other types of beer. So you've started a business in town where you can take people's requests and turn beer into other beer. So that is you got to come up with a name. I'm going to make you actually come up with your own name. I think that's funny actually, and you got to come up with a name for your business as well. So you got to name yourself and your business by the end of it. All right. Now we'll move into the questionnaire part of this interview here, and I think what I can really appreciate from a long-standing member of the community is how you've come across from good games at Joondalup into the newer Northern Boards community and seeing that change of I guess how we operate to a more of a what was a corporate store before they got bought by Gigi's Morley recently.
Yeah.
So it's what is it that I guess, 'cause especially at that time people were transitioning from Gigi's Joondalup over to Northern Boards. What is it that kind of brought you on and made you stick around?
Mainly for the most part, leaving GG's in particular at that time it became somewhat corporate. You could feel the soul was kind of going out of it. Some people there were holding the community up, but to get to the point of going to Boards, it had a lot of character going to it. Besides a lot of the guys moving from GG's over, it was more of, it felt like it got some soul to it. It was a game store that, had a bit of body to it. It's got a bit of a mum's basement vibe. But,
yeah, fuck yeah.
But you put it in a good way, basically, that it's outside the occasional smell. But I mean, stories and without a bit of funk to it.
We did just touch on that with Sarisa about someone a normie coming to the situation and understanding what the smells are like in a place like this.
Oh, definitely, yeah. It's totally great to see a first time reaction, and it's yeah. I mean, deodorant is a mainstay staple of most local game stores, regardless of where you live. Either it be in Australia where it's hot as hell, 9 times out of 10 of the year.
Yeah, it probably helped if we had more functioning air cons in this situation, I guess. So I can't blame all of our customers for all of the smells, right?
I mean, it's somewhat genuine.
You can blame most of them.
Yeah, it's funny enough being in the markets. There was a local game store that used to be here a long time ago, or at least in the back, and that also again had the smells of it all, regardless. And that's even back in the late 90s, let alone now.
I also did I did indoor volleyball, and that was you had a lot of sweaty people jumping around and stuff like that in an indoor situation. And to be fair, it's I think when you get any amount of sweaty adult males in an area for a long period of time, you're gonna get smells either way. So I can't dump it all onto the nerds, but the nerds I feel have maybe a less penchant diversity to actually bathe, which I think one of the things I really wanted to do when we diversify what we're selling in the shop, right, is have a range of deodorants and soaps and bathing things, to really Northern Boards a green goblin fucking soap bar that we sell, and we're you should use this.
Oh yeah, it's not I mean, Warhammer did the scented candles thing. Games Workshop did that. I'm not even kidding
about that. That's funny.
So I mean, hell, if they know what they're doing, I imagine we can just jump on that as well.
I wonder how many guys are in the shower using the scented candle to rub to use as soap.
Well, knowing that, like, could probably be the Nurgle one, which goes hand in hand. Goes like, yeah, you can't. The irony is.
I wonder what the scent of a scented Nurgle candle is, because it's supposed to be like rotten ripeness, right?
From what I know, actually, because there was like people like, what is the scent of the Nurgle candle? Supposedly, it was like very like musty, like a musky sort of one, which you think would be more Slanesh.
Yeah,
but it was like it kind of played on itself.
No, the Slanesh one sounded. It smells like Hypnol. Just that second before you pass out, that's what it smells like.
Oh, like the
somehow they've managed to capture regret and put it into a candle.
Excess amounts of regret. Oh, damn.
So I know, being around in the community for a long time as well, you've seen like a big shift in what competitive Magic looks like. Like before, when you were like more at GGs, were you playing Highlander then or other things, or what kind of like competitive Magic were you playing?
GGs at the time mainly for me was standard. That was my main competitive mount. But after Oko came in and completely, and also it was Oko and COVID at the same time, was a double whammy that made everyone in the format who wasn't playing Oko salty and rage quit it, and also because standard support plummeted because Magic or Wizards were like, pushing Arena. So it basically was a double middle finger to us. And we just went, the whole paper Magic is dying, or paper standard's dying. Everyone just kind of left because it was just, there was no point. There was no point worth it at all. I didn't want to go to any of the other game stores that were even like turning up the sweat dial a bit heavier. Because
for a long time, I think Cannington was about the only one that could really keep a consistent standard thing going.
Cannington and Morley, but that's because it was the exact same crowd just going between both stores.
Between the two places,
basically farming both events.
And like, we're not terribly far from Morley, but on a regular day, we're traffic-wise very far from them. Like, it's in peak traffic trying to travel between like here at Cannington and here in Morley is quite a lot, really.
Yeah.
How are you feeling this at the moment on your Osborne Park trips home?
Living in Yanchep, also known as the border post to nowhere, is
the Northern Territory.
No, basically, Northern Territory. It feels like I'm in Tasmania sailing to the mainland.
What's your current like trip time to get from Yanchep to Osborne Park?
If it's not a Friday, because Friday is surprisingly quick, about 50 minutes. And the reason why I come back to the boards on the way home is because it's an hour and a half. Because people don't know how to drive home.
The Mitchell North actually is cooked. Like, it's from about
Warwick Road, specifically that part where Warwick Station is, where it bleeds in from the Reed Highway ramp. Accidents all the time because people don't know how to merge, or someone gets. It's like what happened the other day when the guy rolled over near Whitford's. Same thing. People get impatient, just go screw it, and they get a crash.
I checked Waze this morning before jumping on the freeway. It was fine, and the car crashed like as I was entering on the ramp, and I was like, it crashed in front of me. I was like, nah, come on, man.
I overheard that on the radio. So you were there, the Shenton.
It's just like, come on, man. Like, I don't want to get to like my place in less than like an hour and a half. It's crazy. But it's like they've put in those like smart freeway things, right? And I'm not 100% sure that it's doing what they think they're doing, because like it slows the flow of traffic getting on the freeway. And like, I'm no expert, right? But I will complain about things. It's getting on there, but then you're just backing up in a different place, right? Instead of backing up at Hutton Street to get onto Osborne Park, you're just backing up like in Warwick, like off Whitford's to get onto the freeway. What's the fucking difference?
It's like my work colleague as well. Literally was a bit late to work because he had a crash pretty much happen in front of him on Hutton Street on the way to work. It's just someone's truck sideswiped somebody. And
do you know what I wanted to? I had an idea years ago, right? It's about floating a half an hour window for start times, right? So your start time for work is let's say you start at 9. Your start time is like 8:30 to 9 or 9 to 9:30,
and then you finish 8 hours. Like the flex.
Well, if you're allowed to arrive any time in that 30 minutes. I don't mind if you rock up every single day. Let's say you start at 8:30, right? So your start time, we're paying you from 8 o'clock. As long as you're there by 8:30, I don't care if every single day you walk in at 8:29. As long as you're there at 8:29, I'll still pay you that a half an hour. Because for most people in like a regular small business, you're giving away an extra like $10 to $20, right? It's not that big a deal. But it gives the flexibility, and I never have to be mad at you if you walk in like 3 or 4 minutes late, right? Because I'm giving you a half an hour window. And then because I think what also is shit is like when you're a good worker and you're working really hard, you rock up like 15 minutes late. It's pretty out of your control. Like maybe you live with your parents, your mum talks to you on the way home. Maybe you couldn't find your keys, which I do every fucking day. It's like I don't want to be. I think when you're a good employee and then your boss is like, oh, you're 10 minutes late. It's like, fuck off. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't think you should ever be in that. And I think that's something that as we move forward with the restaurants, that's something I really want to implement as well. Because I don't want to be in a situation where someone is going to feel guilty or be penalized for being, say, 10, 15 minutes late. When at the end, really, that's not going to do anything. But some bosses get really mad about it, right?
Yeah, like my last boss, not to fully slander, if he listens to this. Sorry, Jamie. No, he was very.
Hey, Jamie, fuck you.
He was very good with that sort of thing. It's like, obviously you just give him a call if like, oh, I'm running a bit late because there's been a prank. Like he knew that all too well. I do the same now I'm in his position. It's like, look, if you're like half an hour late, you know, I'm going to be asking questions, or at least message you, go, hey man, what's up? I'm not going to be angry about it. If you have a good reason, you have a good reason.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you're like an hour late constantly, I'm going to be like, you're taking the piss. And
yeah, now like an hour is definitely pushing it. I can see that.
As much as like, yeah, now it's pushing unless you've got a good reason, like you've been in a praying or, you know, accident or whatever the freeway. Because, you know, as I've said this to even, I can be late. My colleague, because I'm just like, all it takes is one prang and I'm half an hour late. And that's why I'm either half an hour early to work or half an hour late. There's no middle ground.
As a truck driver who does deliveries, we've stopped booking in what we call scheduled deliveries for us, because like some days, like I've been doing shifts into ECU at the new build in Northbridge.
Yeah.
And I can leave. I give myself 40 minutes to get from Wangara to ECU in the city. Yeah. Some days, and I'll get there with 10 minutes to spare. I'll get there in half an hour. And other times, I'll give myself 4 minutes to get there, and I'll arrive an hour and a half later. It's like it's the same trip. It's the same trip, and it's just fucked.
It's like, again, like a lot of the Melbourne colleagues of mine, like head office, when they've come over, they've looked at me sideways, wondering like, what's going on with that? And I'm like, yeah, that's just how it is in Perth. Perth being spread out compared to landlocked like Melbourne or Sydney, where it's somewhat very close. All it takes is one accident and the whole freeway is like Sydney levels of traffic for hours. It just grinds.
And I think because like places like Sydney and Melbourne, where they're
more vertical than horizontal.
Yeah, 100%. And they're so much of the traffic is more localized because they're known to be places where the traffic is bad. So people don't travel quite far. They've got better resources like trams and taxis and trains, all that kind of stuff. Whereas the Perth's really infrastructure isn't good, and we still like to pretend we're a little city, and we're not a Sydney, but we're definitely not Perth 10 years ago, you know what I mean?
Like people think of us as a glorified mining shanty town.
Yeah.
We're not even.
They're not half wrong,
yeah. They're not even half wrong, but the problem is that we're not that anymore. Like,
I think it's crazy that like they've just opened up the freeway up to Yanchep, like towards where you live, and it's already kind of fucked getting up there. It's like they've only just opened it and it needs an extension, and you're like, well, come on, man.
Because Perth, as per usual, is always 10 or 15 years behind, and I could honestly, in the time that we're talking right now, could be here for 5 hours ranting about how bad Perth is.
It is funny. I don't think in our time we'll ever see a part of our freeway that isn't getting constructed on, right? Like we could die at 105 and they'll still be just doing an extra fucking lane somewhere, and you're like, come on, man. Like,
they would have finally gone to the third lane, heading off the exit to Romeo Road, where it is now.
Like further down south, I think we talked about this very early on in the broadcast actually, about when they were trying to connect like Bibra Lake to the freeway, and they didn't do it because of the birds. And like I also want to save the birds, but I get the American style where they just clear like 15 like fucking kilometers of land and just put a road on it. Right?
It turns into the game of how much money, what's the number to make you shut up. We'll double it to make it even better, and just send it that way. And just look, we can demo this bit, or maybe we can only have 2 lanes. Sure, I'll take that compromise. At this point, I don't care. Like the animals, at the end of the day, what happened a few years ago with the Yanchep bushfire? Wouldn't matter if there's a road there or not. The fire still killed them all anyway.
Yes, it got them anyway.
Because someone chucked a ciggy out the window.
So that's the strategy. We just wait till a fire gets the koalas. And then we'll fucking
a accidental fire. The good old insurance fire.
One that just goes directly where the street's going to be. I like that. Yeah. All right, Riley. Well, I had a bunch of magic questions, but as usual, we
ranted about infrastructure and logistics. Love it. You know, the high-vis life.
I think that's perfect for the situation we're in. So before we leave, I need to get a name for your business where you turn beer into beer. What do you reckon?
I'm turning beer into other beers. So you wanted the name of a business and the name of my character?
Yeah, the name of your wizard character, yeah.
The name of my wizard character is King Tiz of the Whiz Fizz.
That's actually fucking tits.
And the name of the place, because again, I'm changing stuff into beer, but also I'm a bit brain damaged, so Brewer's Identity Disorder.
That's actually fantastic, right?
So I figured that would be a good one because, I just get a lucky dip. You might get, something that JB Hi-Fi.
It's funny because when you say the name of your character, I can already imagine like a Whiz Fizz packet with your character, like you wearing a wizard hat on it. Like,
I think that was genuinely in the past. There was like a wizard doing like, again, funny enough, similar to Quick Magic little cut in, the Averdrift like wacky racist sort of ice little look with the sour fizz. I remember.
Oh, yeah, like the art style.
Like the eyes bleeding out because of how fizzy it was and all that,
I love it. Well, thank you, Riley. I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming down.
No worries.
Cheers, Tom.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, welcome, Tom, to the mini broadcast. How are we doing?
I'm fantastic.
I didn't even know you were actually coming today. You were a surprise, for like a nice surprise to me. I saw you drive in, and I said to Kang, I turned to him, I was like, is he here to do like the mini broadcast thing? And he's like, I think he's just here to play games. I was like, well, I'm about to fucking ruin this guy's day. So
It's on him, not anymore.
So for your town character of these NPCs, right?
Yeah, okay.
The whole like design of this was that we're all the non-main characters that the main character would have to come and get quests from, right?
Right.
But he's coming to a town and he's just like, why is this place full of fucking weirdos? Which is what I feel like people
Presented Northern Boards.
Yeah, he's kind of like it's the Northern Boards
he's
town.
Boards.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly right.
Okay.
So you are a local bard, right? You've been out dungeoneering and helping people do things, but unfortunately one day you were kicked really heavily in the crutch by a troll, right?
Amazing.
Severely injured, right?
Okay.
What it did was it heightened the pitch of your voice so dramatically that you couldn't really sing anymore, so your barding skills weren't working now.
Right.
So what you do now is you have a business partner,
Okay.
and you guys run a scam where he does a bird tour and you just run around in the bushes being all the different birds, and people think that they're paying for a bird tour, right? So
Okay.
now you need to come up with a name for your bird tour. Tour?
Bird watching tour?
Yeah, bird watching tour. I've said tour too many
Trail
times now.
guide? Sure.
And you need a name for your character. So something like, like kicked in crutch by troll, but better than that, obviously. And
So when do you need this? When do you need this?
at the end of the interview, so in about 10 minutes, when I've finished asking you questions, I'm going to then ask you what the name of your character and the name of your bird watching tour is.
The phone's coming out. I'm doing it.
You're going to Google wire on the thing. Okay.
Randomize this shit. I don't know how else. I'm not that creative.
He's like on Space Marine name randomizer.
Yeah, legit. Dungeons and Dragons character creator.
We're up top playing Highlander, are we today? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, I'm playing 7 Point, and I've built Mardu Legendaries, and it's not working.
Is it?
End of sentence. It's not working.
There's no. Is there hope or there's no hope?
No, there's hope.
There's hope.
Yeah, and I wanted John to come down, Big Johnny Coins, the man of the hour.
Well, I also was. Did you know if he's coming?
He's not coming today. He's got coins because he had some expo on the weekend, some coin festival.
Weak.
Cowardly.
I just made a bunch of townsfolk weirdos, and it was real easy to cast John, like a banking goblin.
Yeah, as it would be. Right?
It wasn't racist for Harry Potter to do it, so it shouldn't be racist for me to do it.
It's not, and I don't think it is. I think it's fine.
Well, disappointed that's not happening, but that's okay.
Yeah, so he's away, but he's back Wednesday for Highlander.
All right, maybe I'll catch a few more over the thing.
Yeah.
What I'd really like to do is populate the entire town of people, and then I don't know what we're gonna do with it from there. Maybe we can make a cool map, people make maps of towns, and then you could have everybody with their little shop and stuff like
stall?
that. Yeah, I think that'd be gas,
That would
right?
be cool.
That'd actually be gas.
We could do a car park. Fate.
I'd love to send all of this information to a guy in Indonesia on Fiverr and just see what we come back with.
Like an animated thing?
Yeah, 70.
Oh my God.
$75 to just see what we get, right?
We could chip in. There's a fundraiser for that. There's 100% a fundraiser in there.
Everybody puts in $1. Everybody who's got a character puts in $1, and we will just see what we get back.
What we
right?
get for it. Done. That's fucking genius.
So what is not working about the Marty Highlander? What's the problem?
So my main issue is myself.
Easily resolved, right? You see someone up there playing your deck right now, trying to work it out.
Yeah. So I'm my deck building is just on another level.
Mm-hmm. A good level, a lower level, or a high level?
It's a lower level.
A lower level.
Right.
I got it.
So I'm like, this card's incredible. It goes really well with this. And then 45 people will tell me, you're a fucking idiot. That's not the case.
What is it? Are you going for the meme, or you think it's good until someone points out that it's not good?
It's a bit of both. It's like one of these is like we play cards because we like the cards.
Yes,
right?
it's true. Yeah.
This is why we play the cards. So there was one I found. It's called Beckon Apparition. Mm-hmm. It's you pay either a white or a black. It's hybrid. Mm-hmm. You exile a creature card in a graveyard or a card in a graveyard, and you create a 1/1 flyer.
Of that thing, or you just make a 1/1 flyer?
You just make a 1/1 flyer.
True, I get it. There's
It's
a lot
not
of
terrible.
The reanimation is pretty ripe in the rife in the format.
There's
so
a
I
lot
get
of
it.
graveyard reaction and involvement, right?
Oh, and Flage and stuff like that. Fuck that guy.
Delirium, all that stuff, and Aboran Oculus now. So many reasons. But then Ketramos, because Ketramos is a legendary that says if anything is put into a exile, lose a life and draw a card. So there is some level
So
of
for like
synergy.
2 mana, you're getting a 1/1, you're exiling
one
thing,
mana.
and you're drawing a card. Oh,
For
1
one
mana.
mana.
All right, fair. Oh, because it's hybrid. It's one of each.
Yeah.
One of either. Yeah.
So I'm like, this card's amazing.
But I already see the problem. You've created like the unicorn situation where you need all the little things to be in line. Yeah.
It's a pipe dream.
So you could have the card, but they have nothing in exile, or you could have both cards and they've got an exile and they stop you, or you just don't have they have the creature in exile, but you don't have the fucking thing to exile it with, and you're like, oh well.
Yeah. So not as good as I thought, apparently. I think Ketchumos honestly just doesn't have a place in the deck, which is fine.
Yeah, that's the 3-cost one that like he only becomes a creature after a certain thing. Is that right?
Yeah, if there's 7 or more cards in exile.
Yes, that does seem hard in Singleton to make happen. Right?
Yeah.
So like I'm actively in my Izzet deck, I'm actively putting things in exile. But if you're not coming against me, there's probably not a lot of other of that happening.
No, but the thing about Ketchumos is it's a 3-mana 5/5, and that's great with the 3 keywords, but. It's more that when a creature is put into exile from anywhere, draw a card and lose a life. So even if you flicker something, you get card draw.
Okay, I get it.
Valdis
Are you in the
wants to-
colours for Flicker?
No, but Valdis wants to build one in that sort of aspect, using Esper and Ephemerate and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's going to have serious legs.
So why didn't you do that?
Danny, I told you I'm my own problem.
I get it.
It just didn't occur to me like that. Also, I was building legendaries. Ate the Drift came out, and I was like, it's
I guess
cool.
they
shiny, cool legendary card. I want it. That was it. That was about
They've given you the
my
options to work with, right?
Yeah.
So are you just playing Highlander right now?
for the most part. Yeah. So standard was on yesterday.
Yes.
I got no interest in that. Modern, no interest in that. Commander. Also no interest in that. So I used to have Commander.
Whittling, no interest. We're just going to go through all the things he's not interested in.
Everything I'm not bothered by. We're going to be here forever.
So what if you are playing something of something else, what is it that you're doing?
I've been really into Marvel Crisis Protocol.
Oh yeah.
I haven't played in ages.
Are you a big Marvel fan?
No,
to begin with?
not like, you know how some people have like done the marathon where it's like you start at the first Captain America and you watch all of them chronologically.
Well, I'm actually old, so I've watched them all without meaning to.
So same, but I also wasn't like at the movies for premiere and stuff. Like I've played the games, I know the characters, I've watched the movies, but I'm not
for the
lore.
For the launch of like Infinity War, I think the first one, right?
Damn it.
A friend of mine, we were at dusk at the nightclub, and we got pretty drunk. He lived in Joondalup, so we were walking home from dusk, right? But we kind of got a bit we were very drunk. We walked the wrong way, so we walked towards Joondalup Shopping Centre without really realizing it.
Sure.
And when we got there was a midnight screening of the Infinity Wars, and we were like trolleyed, like real trolleyed.
Drunk.
Anyway, we get in line and there's a bunch of people there that are all like dressed up in like uniforms and like costumes and stuff. And there was a guy we were with and he was dressed up as Iron Man, right? But it was all made of cardboard boxes that he painted red, and he was really into the whole situation. And I feel a little bad now because we were like, we were very amused. And I think as an adult, I never want to yuck anyone's yum, you know? Like,
yeah, right.
I want everyone to enjoy it. They should be able to enjoy their thing. But like, as two early 20s drunk guys, it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And he was sitting there because we basically they just shuffled everybody in line, like he got in.
Okay.
And so we ended up sitting next to him because he was next to us in line. And when he got in, some people were doing some like action stunts down at the front of the theater, like I think impromptu. Like I don't know if you've ever seen the Star Wars guys did it when they would come and like play lightsabers in front before the movie starts. These guys were doing.
I was one of those kids, man.
That doesn't surprise me, Thomas.
Revenge of the Sith came out. Me and my buddy went, and he had a red one, and I had a blue one. Dude, it was crazy. Anyway, keep going.
Well, he says to us, "Should I go down there and do a dance?" And I look at my friend, and I look back at the kid, and I was like, "You should absolutely go down there and do a dance." So our boy climbs over us in all these cardboard boxes, walks like kind of like, you know, like you kind of look at Pooh's pants, like steps his way down all the stairs again because he's in the boxes, right?
Right.
And he gets down the front and he does a dance to literally zero applause.
Amazing. And you respect the bit though.
Oh man, he
committed to it.
He committed to at least a good minute and a half of like dancing, and like just to people watching on, and
How many seconds in was it cringe or awkward?
I think negative 10 seconds.
Right.
Yeah.
He wasn't there yet. And you're like, this is a bad idea.
Once he was approaching the front of the cinema, and people were being like, "Oh, look at the box guy." It's like he probably should have just continued walking as he was going to the toilet. Yeah.
Okay.
But he didn't seem like irreversibly traumatized by the event. I don't think he was. he definitely noticed that not as many people clapped as he thought was going to, and he mentioned that. But we just promptly watched the movie.
You know when everyone's like, those embarrassing moments you had as a kid, no one else remembers them, you know? They all remember their own embarrassing stories.
But that's not true.
Clearly, this is not true. This is not the case. You are clearly telling someone a story about someone from 10 years ago.
Sometimes people keep them as core memories and retell them multiple times throughout the rest of their life.
It's funny. Yeah, no, if it was funny for me, it's too bad for you. I'm sorry.
I'm actually like a big personal believer of allowing minor things to ruin you for the rest of your life. Like really, like, you know,
making a mountain out of
really, hold on for dear life. Death grip onto minor inconveniences, and really let them like format how you approach the rest of your life.
As a man.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
right?
Like I think, you know, there's not saber-tooth, some sort of like large cat creature trying to eat us at nighttime. So we've got to learn lessons how we can, right?
Right.
And sometimes a little bit of like social confusion is what's needed to really like push us forward.
It's true.
And it's like when I was a wee lad, my mother like used to play a lot of different music. Kind of like we touched on the music stuff before. She'd play lots of different music, and I thought I was quite well rounded on music. And I remember being in an art class, and I was young. I was like early high school, maybe like year 8, year 9, who knows?
Right.
And the guy would always put on different CDs, and I had a collection. It was a best of 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, and it was like from Sanity, and it had
Sanity.
Yeah, it had each disc was each one of the decades.
Yeah,
and we were playing. I think it was the 60s one, 70s one, and I remember saying out loud to the teacher and I guess the class, because I was a teenager. You do stuff like just to get attention. I guess like you're a kid, and I remember saying like I was like, I have like a really like robust, like well-rounded like music like interests, and like no one says anything. I was like, oh, no one's heard. So like a few minutes later, I say it again, and I'm just trying to chat in art class, like nobody says anything, and then I for some reason because
you're like third time's
like no ability to pick up on social cues whatsoever. I say it a third time, and the teacher, who was kind of actually a cool guy, turns to me and he says, "Yeah, we heard you the first time." And now
we're choosing to ignore you. I need you to know this.
Now, whenever I tell any story for the rest of my entire life, I search the room to make sure that I've not told that story. And if I have to tell that story anyway, I will say, "Oh, I've told Tom this story before," and then I will tell the story. Or I will just actively choose to not tell that story whatsoever, even though this new person I'm talking to might find it amusing or need the information for whatever reason, but I'm not willing to repeat it in case of the social like crushing anxiety of my year 8 just art teacher that I don't remember the name of, just vaporizing any confidence I have in for the rest of my life.
It's pretty good. That's person shaping.
And that's, boys, is why sometimes at the club I might not seem like the weirdo that fits into a game club, but I actually am.
You can be. You can be that guy.
So yeah, I don't know. Again, I had magic questions about it, but we did a strong 13 minutes here talking about absolute nonsense. So, is there anything? You're actually my last villager for today. So I'm gonna get your name of your character and the name of your bird tour.
Okay.
What are we going with, Tomo?
We're gonna go with the bird tour is gonna be called the Birds and the Fees.
The Birds and the Fees, like that, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be called Flooble McCoodle Dink.
I do like.
I'll write it down for you.
I'm excited to send that to Guy and Fiverr for him to to write that on the plaque. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not the hardest one to spell for the day, but I'd say the most interesting to work out where it came from. I'd say. So.
Yeah, I don't know where it came from.
It wasn't a Google chatbot you just put in. No. Sure, yeah.
It was
absolutely.
Honestly, it's been my Discord name for a while.
Has it really?
It was funny there. It's going to be funny here.
I do like the idea of you sending your friends like your Discord like name to put it in the thing, and the chance of them spelling it incorrectly to get you is incredibly high.
Yeah. You're right. It does work too. It's brilliant.
You just spell it slightly wrong to someone you really don't want to talk to on Discord.
Now you're getting it.
All right, I love it. All right, Tomo, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Welcome to the village.
Thanks, man.
Please.
See ya.
All right, Cal, welcome to the Boardcast. Is this the first time you've been on the actual cast?
Yeah, first time, definitely.
Excellent. Well, you're an avid listener for quite a while, Carl. At least you've told me that anyway. So even if you're not, I appreciate you lying to my face to make me feel a bit better about it. You know what I mean?
I'm going to do that. I'm going to help out.
Now, in our fictional town that we've come up with, everyone's picking NPCs. Now, you have been given a very specific role because you have become the impromptu baker of the Boardcast. I think so far there's been a cake for the birthday for the amount of episodes it was.
Yep.
Then it was there was I forget the name of it, the one with the nuts and the marshmallows and stuff. I just can't remember the word.
Oh, the camera. It was
What is it called?
I can't remember what it was.
It's just the name of it is escaping me.
Yeah.
But you know, it's got like chocolate and marshmallows, and my brain's saying Toblerone, but it's definitely not that.
Rocky Road.
Rocky Road, that's the word we were looking for.
Rocky.
That thing was actually tits, and I'd actually just started a very strict diet, and I blew that out of the water day one. It was the straight up of like, well, I guess we'll start the next day. But there's been a few things along the way. So you, Callan, your role here, you're gonna have to come up with your name and your business name. So I forgot to give you a name as well. So you're an archer, but you've lost both of your hands when you accidentally rigged up your bow with metal wire instead of the regular string. So one firing it, I guess fighting like a goblin or something, you went to pull it back and instead just chopped off both your hands. So that's unfortunate. So you've retired to the town, the mystical town we have here, and you've become a baker for you own a bakery. You bake things by essentially like strapping like spoons and spatulas and other cooking utensils to your stumps. So at the end of it, we're going to need to get a name for your character and the name of the bakery that you've given yourself. All right. Let me now swap over to my list of the questions for everybody. Now, I think we're going to go first straight back into working at the airport. Is it a fucking nightmare?
Oh, it is a mission and a half to do anything.
So about 5 years ago, I delivered some railing for a part of the expansion, and they were telling me back then, this is like 5 years ago, they're like, oh yeah, it's like, you know, with this for this, and it's like, you know, they should be done in like a year or two. This is 5 years ago, and I went back there maybe like 3 years later, and that railing I delivered was still there in the bubble wrap. It was like all like blistered in the sun and was floating off into the distance and stuff like that, and I was like, yes, emergency.
That sounds like the airport. It's everything takes a month and a half more than it needs to.
Are you working on like because I know now Perth has two weird airports where it's like two separate airports but next to each other but never connected, and now they're connecting together. Is that the part that you're working on?
So yeah, we're doing the T2 upgrade at the moment, which is to prepare for the works later down where Qantas is going to move over to where T1 and T2 is. But that's 10 years down the track.
Yeah. So it's that far down the line?
Yeah, it's going to take a while because they're building a whole nother terminal.
Yeah.
So we're just doing all the prep of the old terminals, ready for them to move forward, basically. But it's a bit tedious at times. But it should be nice once it's there. Hopefully you can travel nice and easy between, because it's a nightmare at the moment.
I do deliveries of like floor products, and generally speaking, depending on the kind of floor product is whether it's a starter product or an end product. So it's like if it's timber or it's like cladding, usually that's at the end of the project, and that'll determine whether it's like, you know, they're close to wrapping up. I delivered tiles out there not too long ago, and then later on I delivered the screed, which is real weird because normally they screed and then lay tiles on top of it.
Yeah,
so even for my very minuscule exposure to the job at the moment, very backwards.
And that's the Perth Airport for you. Backwards as hell.
All right, we don't want to dox you too much, so we'll move on. Now, I only really knew you as a Magic player, Cal, but I don't really come in Mondays, generally speaking. So when I did at some point, I saw that you were playing Fab. Did you always play Fab, or did you swap from Magic to Fab for like a competitive thing?
Swapped to Magic to Fab for competitive. So started Commander probably about 2-ish years ago now. Did Commander for about a year-ish until it's only been about a year that I've started Fab, and it was just a more competitive outlet.
How is the journey going, Cal?
I'm getting hammered so hard every time.
When we first opened the shop, I started playing Fab a lot because I really liked the game. I liked the art style a lot. There was a character that I played like 2-3 years ago, I guess, when it came through, and she looked like it's like a kind of like a snake head lady, like a Medusa kind of character, I guess. Maybe, or she kind of had like blood veins on the outside of her and stuff.
Levia?
Maybe. I'm a bit bad with names, right?
Yeah, it's just like purpley looking.
That's it. And it reminded me a lot of my favourite character from Magic the Gathering, which is Glissa, and it's a very similar kind of art style, right? So I was like fully in. And I really enjoyed the playstyle, but I was getting fucking railed. I was like, man, this is a game for hell smart people, and I'm
not
that.
That's what I found out. I'm very dumb. and get hammered every time.
So do you feel like there's progress moving forward?
Yes, I've won a few games, and I'm like, yeah, cool. At least I've won a couple.
Nice.
But everyone that plays at Northern Board, they're just next level.
Yeah, I think like Jackson and Ellen were talking about how they're going to start like a program where so it's like where they're going to try and give like training and tips to like newer players and people coming into the hobby, because I think so many people are finding it such a steep learning curve, and you're coming against players that are so experienced that it's quite hard to get into and keep going with, I guess.
Yeah, you do feel defeated if you just come in and just get railed by guys here, but they are very knowledgeable about the fundamentals of the game, and that's where just trying to learn that is very hard when you just get beaten all the time and you can't get feel that progress to move forward.
Well, I think it's like when you fail at a task, right? Whether it's work or like a life thing or a game. If you lose, you can kind of learn something from it. Yeah. But if you lose too quickly and you don't know what's going on, there's no really learning going on.
I like to work under pressure, so it doesn't bother me too much. But yeah, it does have that. It does definitely why it would turn away a lot of people. And I think hopefully that moves forward. And they do set up their training thing that they're doing, because I reckon it definitely needs it.
Well, I think it's coming from a lot from like even the players that aren't winning a lot, they want to see that community grow. And the problem is, as people have like lives and they have kids and they have jobs and people move away, people always going to be slowly exiting any hobby, no matter what it is.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So what you always need is a consistent level of growth of new people coming in, even just to replace the numbers of the people that someone might have a kid and they can't play for the next 12 months, right? And if you don't have that, you do slowly see these games drop away. And when you have games like Magic the Gathering and One Piece firing on all cylinders, people will naturally merge away from there.
Yeah, I think where Fab has the concept of the game with the back and forth feels amazing. Competitively, it's awesome, but the social aspect of it is very lacking. On like where you've got Commander, you got 4 people sitting around just playing cards.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
And Fab
it's hyper-competitive or nothing at all.
Yeah, so that's where it turns away a lot of new people, and it's really hard to get people, unless they're competitive by nature, or they're like me and just like to suffer.
Yeah. Cal's had too good of a day. He's like, I'm going to go in and lose some games and really like teach myself a lesson.
Yeah, that's why I come to Northern Boards.
Yeah. every time you come here is a punishment.
So that's it needs it. But like they do have Ultimate Pit Fight, but it's not the same. It doesn't have.
Is that kind of like a 4-way play thing as well?
It's a 4-way. It goes in a clockwise rotation, I think it is, and you can only swing to the left. But then it makes it really awkward where it's. Oh, I think you can actually swing both ways, but you can't swing across the table.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's kind of like King Fight in like where you have like more than 4 people in Commander. They do a thing where you can only fight people on either side of you.
Yeah. So, but it's not got the scene for it, and
it doesn't feel like it works as intuitively as maybe Commander does, right?
Yeah. But it'll get there eventually, and hopefully the game keeps going big. It feels like it's getting bigger.
It's definitely,
every set feels bigger so far. So
the sales for it in like other places like the United States actually do quite well. But the thing is, I think with Perth, we always come to that thing. We're a much smaller community, so it requires much more of a robust support. Otherwise, it just doesn't survive. We've seen plenty of games that are very big in other places, like in the US or even over east in Sydney and Melbourne, where they've got bigger populations that survive there that just don't cut the mustard here, unfortunately.
We're the Laterwell state. It's WA. Everything comes.
Whether it's the airport or the card game, this is about the same, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So you still playing Commander a bit on the side as well?
Yeah, so it depends what days I work, basically. I'll just rotate between the two and...
How tired you are.
How tired, if I want to be competitive.
A little power nap in a car.
Yeah, pretty much. So it depends on what it works out, but I'm trying to consist of the Mondays to try and get better at Fab, to try and actually push forward for it. But Commander, I'm finding that element of I've gone through that stage of buy a shit ton of Magic cards, set up a whole collection, build heaps of decks, and now I'm going, actually, I'll just when something interests me, I'll build a deck around
ease up a bit,
going a little bit slower about it.
I am such a big proponent of like especially when people are new players and they're getting into the hobby, it's really exciting. You spend a lot of money, but there's like a fine line between those people that get 3 months in, they've spent so much money and they've invested so much. They're like, oh, this is not sustainable. And I think starting sustainable, just buying the things you want and smaller amounts of stuff is a much better way to approach the system.
Stops that burnout, and you get the intense burnout when people first start as well.
Yeah.
So you have the people which take it steady, go in, or the people which go buy 6 commander decks,
Yeah.
and then go buy booster boxes on booster boxes.
The
and
people that
realise,
start the
like,
hobby by buying collector booster boxes, I'm like, man, that's
a
a whole decision, eh? Like that's a car down, mate.
Yep, well, that's it's called an addiction.
Have you seen? Because wasn't a big Final Fantasy guy, but have you seen like the prices and the scalping for the
I
Final
haven't
Fantasy
looked
stuff?
at the prices. Looked at some of the cards. I'm like, oh, they're nice, but I don't want to commit to the money.
Were you a Final Fantasy player?
A little bit. My brother was a bit more than me, and I kind of fiddled in. I was more Monster Hunter and all that sort of stuff.
Was it because I also I played the PlayStation one. I think we talked about it in the cast on the prerequisite to this.
Yeah.
But it's like I wasn't anywhere near. I didn't know. Like I know it's just one of the games I played. It was good, but I didn't know it was such a big thing. So when Kang started talking about their pre-orders for this and how they were piling in, I was like, oh, I didn't realize it had such a crazy
It is
following.
massive, and I forget that it's not really like episodical. It's not one after the other. There are different stories to each name, but it doesn't follow on the same story.
Oh, I didn't even know that actually.
It goes all over the shop.
So is it like time differences, or it's just completely different stories altogether?
There's time. There's some which follow each other, some don't. Some have different universes. I think it's too hard to keep track of, but yeah, it's very full on.
Yeah, well, I know from like the pre-sales we've done and like getting the things in, people like are messaging us that we've like both never like customers we haven't seen before, people like that I wouldn't expect to be into stuff like this. Like even a few of my mates who know like that they just know that I've got the shop but don't do any of the hobbies. Are like, hey, you're getting this Final Fantasy thing, and this looks gas. So
my brother's always asked me as well. He's like, so if any cards come your way, let me know. Same with all the Marvel stuff, which is coming out with the Spider-Man and all that. He's like, let me know.
Man, the art schemes for those look really good, but a lot of the cards seem underpowered. I wonder if they're trying to like lean into the Spider-Man selling it rather than the power of the cards.
Yeah, I think they have room to grow with some of the cards, but they're just, you'd have to really work them. They're just not on that edge where they're just super powerful like all these other ones that come out with the multiverse. But
We found a few of them was like, the card's amazing until the last sentence, and it's like you can only do this once a turn, or you have to like sacrifice this, or you give it to an opponent, and you're like, oh, it's just milliseconds from being amazing, and now it's terrible.
Yeah, it's like Spider-Man. I was like, I'm so keen for this, and then I was like, oh, it's just a little underpowered.
I think it's because it sits in the product of like the Lord of the Rings ones, where it's like a screen thing. I guess you put them all together and it makes like an art piece, which I think is very cool. But it's like most people are still going to shred those apart to play in decks, right? So you don't want to be playable, and it's hard when you play in Commander. There's 1,000 cards or 20,000 cards you can pick from. You like it feels bad putting in something you know is inevitably just a little bit worse than what it needs to be if like you want to keep with the theme. But I guess if you're building a whole Marvel deck, then the theme's okay, right?
Yeah, the theme's there. It's I'd be curious to see how many people actually have the full sets for like the Lord of the Rings, and how many will eventually have it for like the Marvel.
Yeah, that's true.
Or they just strip it apart.
I don't think there's definitely the power in the fact that these people are coming. A lot of people coming into the hobby to do just this, like they're just getting Lord of the Rings stuff because they're Lord of the Rings fans and stuff like that as well. You know.
Yeah, no, definitely.
All right, Cal. Well, I really appreciate you coming down. Before we head off, we're going to get the name of your bakery and your character.
Stumpsies.
Makes sense.
Stumpsies.
Yeah.
He's got Stumps. So changed his name after the accident.
My brother's nickname is actually Stumps, and he has full arms and legs. So I don't know what the relevance to that is, but I get it. It makes sense. Yeah.
The bakery. Kneading. I don't know. Needy.
I get it. The needy stumper. I love it.
Yeah, needy stumper. Makes sense.
All right, Cal. I appreciate it, man. Thanks so much.
Thank you
Cheers.
for having me.
Ta.
All right, Danny, you got me this time, right? But I've seen people walk in through the door every single time you've done an interview so far. Their faces has been a mix of like confusion and also just kind of like fear. What did you do to people?
That is generally what happens when people are around me normally. So it's just a normal interaction with Daniel. I think.
So what I do know though, I want to piece together some information that I've gathered from what I've heard from people. Right, you're doing an RPG kind of thing a bit. Yeah, I've seen your like story attempts, right? Yeah. So not only did we have one episode on the podcast, we took over and we were down a massive spiral. Me and William.
I should have done it as that town.
Yeah, not bad. Do you have any of the recollection?
Of the I have a good idea of the story for the most part. Yeah.
My favorite part is that I got you doing like this AI RPG dungeon thing, right? And immediately the first thing you did to your character was punch yourself.
That is
followed by punch the baker and get arrested.
Yeah. Well, I guess it was his fault for being there, though. Like, he chose to exist, and that's not my
fault. So hit me with it. I'm ready for this. Let's go.
Right, so what I really wanted to create is that where, like in the story of the D&D that we're in, like a main character has to go to a town, right?
Yeah, of course.
But in that town, it's populated with NPCs, and you might have to go get quests or like collect, I don't know, like 10 chicken heads or whatever it is you need to do to complete the quest, right? So I wanted us to be all of the northern borders to be the people in the town.
Oh, nice. nice.
And as all the boards is just a collection of weird people, I've made sure that all of the characters are as weird as possible. So what I did was I named some of the characters, but then other people I have made them come up with their own name. But I gave everybody a business as if it was a location in the town, and then I would give them a description of what their thing is, and they have to name their business. That's the main like, kind of gimmick, right? And it's fun. I think everyone for the most part.
Do I get a choice on what business I'm running?
No, absolutely not. No, I've told you what kind of business you're running. So as to keep as I think racially ambiguous as I can be in a recording. You're a trader from the East, Kang.
Ooh,
so you have to come up with a name of your trading business.
Yeah.
But specifically, what you trade in is illicit like substances and endangered animals.
Yep.
The problem is you don't actually have any connection to any people back east. So what
it's just whatever's in my pocket. And I'm like snake oil.
You just hard snake oil.
If you snort this rock, I swear to God, you'll see God.
It's like rats with like antlers glued onto their head, rabbits who've been shaved off, and you're pretending they're like miniature dragons, all that kind of stuff.
This one gives you an erection for 7 days.
It's like rhino horn, except that really it's just like Greg's boot from around the corner, right?
It's that like petrol station pills, dude.
Yeah, so you're the scammiest kind of like Eastern trader people can think of, but you've convinced most of the town that these remedies will work. Gotcha. So you've got to come up with a name for your trader and the trading business.
Crafty Kang's, cool Kang's Crafts.
Are they all start with K's?
You bet. Triple K.
Not even the craziest thing that's been said tonight, so that's okay.
Yeah, not bad. I'm trying to outbeat them, right? I'm a regular here on this episode, like this podcast.
Besides a single word that might have to get edited for.
He told me what it was. What's wrong with the word?
I just don't know if that's good for our SEO.
What, pedophiles?
Oh, we're going to double down.
We can't talk about pedophiles.
That's fine. That's good.
All right.
So I think normally what happens was I was giving people the 10 minutes to come up with the name of their business.
It's real easy for me, man. I got one bit referring to my name that starts with a K.
I do like that it's something that you've already had it's clearly something you've had in your mind already. Like you've had to come up with it before.
No, I came at what happened was that when you're talking about I had to run like a store for this town, my original plan was to just sidewind it and be like, I'm running a video store.
But in a clearly mystical town.
But it was still gonna be some sort of KKK flicks.
Like I do like kind of thing. If it could be a video store, but you just like you rent out like globes, which it plays the memories inside the globe, like a Harry Potter thing.
It was either going to be I was going to sell like legitimate videos, or I was going to sell like pornography.
I do like porn globes. That sounds actually pretty good.
Yeah, dude. In the medieval times, right? Can you imagine the market demand in medieval times? Insane. Everyone's pent up.
There's like one attractive girl in all the towns.
Yeah,
and just like my missus has a mustache. So
my business would expand so fast. I'd have a giant barn out back with private booths, dude.
If you like a beep show.
Think about it. I would make an absolute killing in medieval times.
This is people in barnyards peeping into.
I would hire like one or two wizards that were really good at pondering that orb, making sure the videos are good, dude. Back then, people had no creativity as well. All missionaries.
That's true. Yeah, you can tell them anything, and they'll be like, "Oh, this is crazy."
Yeah. I'll get that one weird guy who comes in like, "You got anything involving dragons?"
So what I want to do with the rest of the process is to get as many of the Boardcast members as part of the this whole like
little RPG town.
Yeah,
I love
right.
it.
And then I want to get like $75. Send the plan to a guy on Fiverr in
Holy
Indonesia
shit.
and get him to draw us like a town map.
Amazing.
I'm going to give him all this information. I'm going to be like, I need you to take these characters' names, and they're like, if it's a wizard or a warrior or a rogue, and then I want you to create like a map for us so we can have that as like in town, like in the boards. Cool. I think. So.
I'm super down for this, man. I'll be bringing in a cart full of crazy random shit. I'll be a crazy hat. I'll be in like a robe and everything.
I also like the idea of the guy getting $75 and like hours of information that he's supposed to divulge into a single map. I think they're kind of funny.
The Fiverr guy's just gonna phone it in, right?
So by all means of the stretch, this is delayed primarily because I did literally zero work, Kang. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how mad at me are you?
I was actually. Well, to be fair though, it's 50%, right? Because I was supposed to line up a bunch of interviews for it as well, and I didn't get it done by the weekends.
Yeah, but you're also working, and I said I would come in, then I didn't.
There was a part of me that was planning to just have this episode postponed. Yeah. It would be the most Northern Boards thing ever to have our 1 year anniversary episode postponed by 1 week.
It is funny that it is now we're both not sequentially number wise or on the week of
the so listeners are getting a double episode this week, really. We owe them one.
We do have to at this point actually go ask Will when he's going to record. So that's always
it was Will's birthday.
Oh, when?
Yeah, yesterday. We're great friends. You forgot as well, right?
It is funny. We were talking about the boys were trying to get your birthday for a gift. I think we gave it to you already. The
It was
lightning bolt,
absolutely
right?
sick.
So the boys wanted to give it for your birthday, and nobody knew when your birthday was. And at some point, Tom turned around. He's like, "Wouldn't you know when Kang's birthday is?" I was like, "Why would I know?" He's like, "Don't you pay him and shit?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I can tell. I've got all his personal information. I can even mail it directly to his house
If I ever need to run away, you got me, dude. So
or at least I can just go hang out with your parents. One of the two.
that would be insane.
I was like, I do like the idea of your
They
parents-
stopped you?
No, yeah, they know nothing about me or that you work here or anything. They're just like, who is this guy?
They'll just be like, "Oh, you're more impressive than our son."
Yeah, I think so. We've westernized him fully now.
So now that I'm here on this segment here, you got any favorites? You got any favorite like whoever's town members? What are you in the town? Who are you?
No, I either.
Are you the dude that scalps people?
I was either going to make myself the king of the town because that sounds like very like me, or do some sort of game where I'm the main character, and then once we've got the map, the characters have to convince me why I'm going to go to their shop.
Ooh,
like a backup place.
What is your wares?
Sorry,
what are your wares?
Well, if I'm the main character, then I'm going there for the quest. You know what I mean?
Oh, nice,
so
nice,
if what am I?
Is William your sidekick?
As a main character, what am I coming to you with your dodgy rabbits and rats and horny pills?
Is this like a Shrek thing where you're Shrek and William's donkey?
It wasn't, but it is now.
Now it is.
William as my sidekick animal that can not completely speak sounds pretty good to me actually.
Yeah, amazing.
But I want to go less. What's less impressive than a donkey? Like a sloth or something maybe?
Yeah, but
that's quite
pretty
cute,
useless
though.
in a fight.
Yeah. As opposed to a donkey, which is amazing.
Yeah, well, you get a mule. So.
Or they're calling William my ass. Actually, is seems pretty good actually. Yeah.
He won't listen back. He won't know.
So what I want to do is go back and then get some more of these segments done at a later date, and we'll stitch them on to the end of just regular podcasts until we've completely populated a town full.
So
of
one at a time, we'll
weirdos.
gather community members for ourselves to make a.
I know Nick was really keen. I think I think we get CJ back on. Like I said, we're gonna get CJ later, but he was incredibly too drunk and was showing us videos that we didn't want to see on his phone.
My favorite part was that Roy was going to walk away, and we still dragged him back to look at the video.
And that's a real insider broadcast. So if you want that information, that's
Patreon only content.
Yeah, you've got to come to the Patreon, and you've got to pay enough money to get CJ drunk. So,
all right,
cool.
Yeah,
love it.
I'm super excited to see this town grow. So right now we have 5 people in this town?
No,
we don't have a functioning economy yet. And I'm also not part of this town. I'm a visitor. I'm a merchant.
Yeah, but you're stuck here now. You know,
I'm stuck here now.
You're not making enough money to leave, so you're permanently entrenched.
I'm in Backpacker Hill right now.
Yeah. You COVIDed yourself.
All right, sick.
Cool. Cheers, Kang.
Do you have a name for this town? Working project?
I really think I should have come up with one.
You got to do something more cool than Northern Border, right?
It's actually pretty good. I'll come up with one, and I'll have it. I think maybe I'll reveal it on when we get the poster in.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. All right, cool.
All right.
Sounds good.
Nice job.
Cheers, Kangs.
Keen.
Ciao.
Listeners coming in.
Anyone listening to this podcast is a player. You're a player. Trust.
You're a player of hobbies, and that's what we talk about here. It's a hobby podcast.
Did you eat the fly? Well, at least it won't be flying around anymore.
Hold on.
This is an incredible way to celebrate this.